is accurate.
Yeah.
It's the numbers game. That's a pretty badass haircut, Thomas.
Yeah, dog.
Oh yeah, you're looking good, man.
Yeah, I'm getting closer and closer to a Nazi every day.
You look like
with every haircut.
Oh no! Is Spider-Man also an agent of Hydra?
You look like Brett LaFarve for
Brett LaFarve.
Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Show me your jeans.
They're black.
The flies better be open.
I need to see those jeans.
I don't got the Favre jeans. I didn't inherit those football jeans.
You don't like Levi Strauss jeans?
Levi Strauss. All right, who are we missing?
Daniel, who's in the Roll20, but not... Oh, wait, there he is. Oh.
Snuck right on in there, buddy.
Wow, you did a good job. Snuck up while I wasn't looking.
Is Justin around?
Nope. He's in the Roll20, but he's not in the Hangout.
Fuck.
Oh, hey, can I not? Oh, there we go.
I can do nothing for him.
I can do nothing for you, son.
Alright, here we go.
Alrighty.
So, Kevin, are you ready for your adventure of a lifetime?
He's probably been waiting for like over a year since we first met him, and we're like, we play D&D sometimes, bro.
Yeah, buddy.
I was the one that actually had to pull it off, John.
No, to be honest, John messaged me like 100 times about it and mentioned it every time he called me, and I just kept being lazy.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
No worries, bruv.
Can we still blame John?
Yeah, we can blame John. As long as you know it's not John's fault, blame him.
If you blame me, then I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine.
Strike me down, dog.
Who's playing in a car?
Somebody's in a car.
It's my new Mustang GT with compatible rumble pack.
Oh boy, shopping. I got so many questions.
Oh
Yeah.
Alex, I got your birthday present over here if you want to come get it.
Oh boy.
I gave it to you yesterday.
That's okay, bro.
It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it is pretty cool.
Oh my god.
Is it just a party fail, John? Is it just the party fail that we were eating from last night? I got you this present. The rest of the ice cream. I'm just kidding. John would obviously never do that. He wouldn't part with this fucking ice cream for anybody. You know it's true.
Dude. I just want to fucking kill some samurais this weekend.
Kill some samurais.
You come up for honor?
Yeah,
Is that a euphemism, John?
Well, yeah, I want to jack off a lot too, but I also want to kill.
Makes more entries in the captain's log. Take a big shit in the toilet of a pirate ship.
What was it, what did fucking, what's his name? Wim said something, hold on. I fucking wrote it down because it was amazing. It was the best euphemism in the world. I gotta go see a man about a dog.
I think that was actually Hugh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Hugh, yeah.
Do you have like a transcript?
Is he going to take a shit?
Yeah, that's right. And then goes, that means he's going to take a shit, right?
Yeah.
I do, babe. Justin, we all have the transcript. I mean, you know, it's up to you to just, you know.
I mean, I guess so. That's fair enough.
Yeah, it is pretty fucking fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess that sounds fucking fair to me.
That's what I was saying.
Is everybody here? Does anybody need a minute?
I think I'm ready. The only, Thomas, like, there was that email I sent you a long time ago about the stuff that I wanted to do specifically. I don't know if you want to, like, save that to a later date or, you know.
Well, you're still on for Brook Street at Peak.
That's right.
So that'll resolve itself then.
Okay, cool. I just didn't want to, like, if there was something that we wanted to do as, like, a group, I didn't want to, like, interfere with that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you guys are going to go to Rook Street for one reason or another today. We're going to start exploring the city.
Okay, cool.
Besides, like, saying, all right, you guys are in one district, and walking 50 minutes later, you arrive in another district.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen in Sigil, not with the way things have been going so far.
There is one thing. There's something I would like to discuss before we continue.
Okay.
All right. So I need everyone to follow this link right here. And then...
No, John! We're not playing fucking EverQuest with you!
Guys, we need to start up. We have to go back.
God, no.
We have to go back.
I'm putting my fucking foot down. We're not doing that.
Alex,
no means no, John.
Alex, roll D20. If you get a 1, you have to do it.
Yep.
All right.
He's right. Everyone has to.
5.
Oh, damn.
Thank God. A 10. Maybe everybody should do it to see if they're going to suffer a cursed fate.
Yep. See how about that?
How about that?
You're lucky I'm a lenient DM because, you know, normally a 5 and a 4 would not be saves for Project 99.
EverQuest DM.
You may have won. Hey, EQ it's a more difficult game.
Humongous, are you joining us, or do you want in on it? You don't even want to roll.
He's gonna roll. He's gonna roll. He doesn't need to roll. He's in. He's already been in.
Is he here?
In fact, you're all already in because I've already made accounts for all of you.
You don't have a choice. Can I be
John, are you just static for a reason, or is that just on my end?
Oh, sorry.
It would be you, Joseph. You would get roped into that bullshit.
One down. And if it isn't my roommate, I can check and make sure.
John. Roommate's a very, very loose term here.
I can check in on you whenever I want.
You're just the guy who happens to pay half my rent.
I can check in on you whenever I'm home.
Yep.
Which is never. By the way, Kevin, yes, John is static. That's not just you, yeah. It's
Superhero static shock.
It fits in with his personality.
Daniel, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we want to start? Okay.
Sure.
So, last time, you guys were in Sigil on Executioner's Day. And you saw a badass, rousing speech by the great planar pirate Greenbeard denouncing the Planar Trade Consortium. Long story short, Brother Earite died. Everyone was upset.
Yeah, you guys were all so upset that my brother died.
And it was nobody's fault, which is the important part.
So you met the leader of the Will of the One, a water genasi named Pristine. And after making introductions, she fairly quickly told you guys you can't stay here. The plan was you guys they would court you. Brother Earite would show you the city. They would let you stay for free, and they would try to bring you into the Will of the One. But with Brother Earite's death, Oli straight up saying that he doesn't really care. If you'll recall, he said Knuckles Cracking has become pretty devout about raising a dead god and following Pristine's orders. But Oli really doesn't care. He really cares about the gymnasium. So you guys were kicked out. You wandered for a little while. Humongous met a tiny creature named Omat, who gave him a little bag that ended up with almonds in it. And while you were at the Whole Note Inn, you got your nuts salted.
Yeah.
You went into the kitchen. You walked through a portal that was in a picture of Cove into an actual cove on another plane. You fought some pirates.
Ashton killed most of them.
Ashton killed a lot of them with fireballs. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. One pirate of note, Code's mate Price, abandoned her side and joined you guys. And you guys met up kind of late with Captain Jarzon Levasseur. He summoned an aspect of an evil dead god. It came into form as a Kraken spawn and almost killed you all. It did kill him. It ate him alive. And then that was it. You guys found the pirate ship Inheritor.
We made some calamari.
You are anchored in some cove, and absolutely no time has passed. You're not rested. You are near death or whatever. You're tired, you're exhausted, it's evening, and you've settled onto the Inheritor with your newfound ally, Code's mate Price.
All right.
Code's mate.
Do we want to try to take a long rest here?
I would think that would be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll turn to Code's mate Price. I said, do you know of any reason we shouldn't rest on this ship?
She kind of hides a like a smirk, and she says, and what was your name again?
Oh, Mal. And
Mal, there's a pretty good reason why we shouldn't sleep on the Inheritor. On the other side of the cove, there's this log, and if we walk through the log, we get to an inn, and we could just stay in the inn.
Cute.
Yeah, she seems to have very quickly made herself home with your group.
That's slut.
Yeah, I want to ask her if she's particularly mad or sad that we killed all of her friends and associates.
Stella, are you standing on like the front of the ship there? Are you doing the fucking Titanic thing?
She's doing the Titanic thing.
I was doing a princess song when we ended, so I guess I'll get off.
Yeah.
It was about adventures and stuff.
Kind of gay.
Not gay. Super
let's
cool.
see. When you suggest that the other pirates were her friends, Code's mate Price spits off the ship, and she explains, "Look, my best friend is Jenny Harkin, and she sent me to Captain Jarzon's crew to find her husband, Red Bertram, and now he's alive." And she points down to the area to the north where all those people are dead in the water, and the guy in the red shirt that she resurrected, or CPR'd, points to him, and he's kind of just like mindlessly sitting in the water, watching the horizon at a distance. And Price explains, "Now that I've got Red alive and well, I'm done with them. I don't really. I mean, if none of you are going to claim the Inheritor, of course I have as much claim to it as any one of you. But I'm really not interested in it anymore. Jarzon, his dead god, none of that interests me. I'm done. I'm going back to Jenny. I'm gonna get paid for finding her husband, and I'm finished."
Well, wait. So you say lay claim to the Inheritor? I mean, could you take the ship? Like, are we on? That's so many questions.
It's pirate law, boy.
Yeah,
Inherit.
Mal, we aren't in Sigil anymore.
Right.
We're in Avasia, and there's so imagine this. Imagine that God has a sense of humor, and he created a world full of treasure and ocean.
Of vampires versus
In
light.
a world of endless ocean.
Yes, and that's where you are right now. And there are other entrances to it from Sigil, even. But yeah, you can have the ship. I'm thinking about retiring. All the great pirates are dead, so
I want to insight check her to see if I think she's like hiding something from us.
okay.
Can I do that?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh,
Anyone who would like to.
Oh, we're playing the game.
Gentlemen, we're playing the game. Crit.
Fuck.
Boom.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Yeah, fuck your plot line.
Well, what do I learn? Did you find Greenbeard's treasure?
You learned that You've never really heard of where you are.
Okay.
But you genuinely believe when she says that this is a plane of piracy, like a world full of island hopping treasure.
Mm-hmm.
When she explains that there might even be another door to this plane from Sigil, you believe her. You feel like she kind of just gave you that one for free. You absolutely do not trust that she's not going to try to grab the inheritor for herself and become a captain in her own right. She probably wants the inheritor. She seems to be lying through her teeth about that, but she also seems to be a pretty good liar as well.
Okay.
But you don't think she's trying to like get the better of you and betray you or anything.
Right. Not yet.
She's just lowballing her interest in just taking the ship and you know.
Yeah, she's like saying it's not worth anything. I want to get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. Okay.
So she explains, a whole world of piracy is nice and all, but
says the pirate.
Yeah, through that log, there's endless worlds. Any one of them could be a world for pirates.
All right. Well,
she's right.
I'm gonna look at the rest of the group. I'm gonna look at Brakal specifically, and I say, well, what do we feel about the ship here? Would this be something that you would?
Why
be
are you still hanging out with us, actually?
Hey, let me tell you something.
That's right, your voice changed on the ship.
I think we need this ship. Let me tell you boys a tragic story, okay? Once upon a time, I was sailing the high seas with me brother.
Back when we got along, you see.
Your brother that I met?
Probably not. This was a long time ago.
Okay.
22 ships leave the port that day. Go out on a grand adventure. Only one ship returned, and ever since that day, I never ever gone out on the boats again. But this boat I'm taking a liking to. I think methinks we need this boat. ...
That's all I gotta say.
That started.
I mean, it's a free boat.
Did he start like squinting at like one of his eyes and then just gesturing and pretending like he has a hook for a hand?
Wim, what do you have to say about this?
Well, the thing about it, actually,
it's liquid fire.
You turn to Wim. Actually, before you even turn to him, you just you assume he's there, and you say, Wim, what do you think of this? And he doesn't respond. And you all look over at him, and he's sitting down on the boat, and he's kind of staring out into space, and he's having a conversation, and he's kind of mumbling to himself, and he's saying, well, you got to be careful when you go out now, you see, because some folks around these parts, they're not so interested in making sure that everybody's okay. All right. And he's
having a flashback.
Generally giving fairly good advice on how to make your way in the world with a little smile on his face and pain behind the eyes. But as you poke and prod him and try to get his attention, he seems to be really zoned out, man. He's having one of his episodes.
Damn.
One of his episodes?
Yeah.
He's wild.
He has seemed to do this from time to time.
Yeah, I guess he did. He's like, I need to take a walk. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what does everybody else think? I mean, Hugh, what are your thoughts on owning a pirate ship?
I mean, I'm coming for that booty. That's all I'm saying.
Swiggity swooty.
Swiggity swooty.
Dizzy Reed?
I say we take the boat so that, I can go into the world and spread my music. It'd be a great way. I've always wanted to be a cruise ship band member. We'll start now.
Want to play on a cruise ship?
Yeah, I hear cruise ship entertainment is the greatest form of entertainer.
I run up to the helm and I just immediately start I grab the helm and I start kind of jerking it back and forth, excited fashion.
Is that how you start a ship?
Like a kid in the race car?
making race car noises with my mouth. You know.
So, at these developments, Price, she seems fairly exasperated, and she's like, "Yeah, look, the inheritor, it's all yours. I'm thinking about crashing. Does anyone want to escort a pirate back to the inn?"
I'll go. I honestly don't have any reason to like set sail and abandon all the plot lines. So, yeah, I'll go with you back to the whole note.
Is there anything we can do to ensure that
The ship will be here when we return.
It's anchored.
I don't know. What would you like to do, Brakal?
Gonna need some kind of anti-theft alarm system.
Wait, how about we just park it around the corner?
Isn't there a spell called alarm?
There is. Can you cast spells, John?
No, but can any of you magical nerds cast spells like alarm?
I can heal the boat if it's hurt.
So,
okay, I don't.
So as Price heads towards the Whole Note Inn, she collects Red Bertram from the shore, and he seems kind of weak. He's an older man. He looks to be in his early 60s. He's wearing all red. He's got his pirate clothes on. He's got a bandana, old weathered tan skin. And he slowly nods to her and he says, Price, I owe you. And she kind of laughs it off. And they begin walking towards the Whole Note Inn.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, you all accompany them.
Unless anybody says differently, I'm going to do that.
The only thing I'm gonna say, ooh, ye boys don't understand.
If we leave this ship, that bitch, she's gonna come back. She's gonna take it, and then we're not gonna be able to sail.
You say this in front of her?
Are you like Toyota Subaru and that you lose your powers if you're like not with your ship?
No. I haven't had a ship this entire time.
Yeah, dog. Because I'm like with Price, so like if you're saying this out of earshot of her, it's probably out of earshot of me too.
Then I'm saying it, I guess whoever is still near me. Is that the Bard and Wim?
Yeah. I guess.
And Stella?
Wim, like, not even thinking about it, Wim just begins tagging along behind wherever Mal goes.
Okay. Well, this is what I do. I carve my initials into the helm.
Okay.
I carve them into the helm, and I look at Stella Artois, and I say,
Stella, this means this ship belongs to me, Captain Jack Theratrix. You understand?
I like that. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Jack.
They will bellow my name. Ayo, Captain Jack. Take me back to the Sparrow track. Do you understand?
And I point at her and I say, do you understand?
Why are you picking on me?
I don't say anything. I just keep pointing, and my point becomes more fierce and shaky.
I'm gonna follow Wim and this beeline out of here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
I throw my hands up in the air, and then I jump off the boat, and then I just say, "Well, fuck."
Cool. So you all leave.
I follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
You travel through the cove, undeterred, unmolested. You make it through, and you go to the far western side, and you walk up to the split log. And as you peer in, you see the dead, decaying wood kind of like has rows in it that resemble aisles in a large kitchen. And there's even a square portal in the log that resembles stoves and kind of reminds you of a countertop. And Price, hesitates for a moment, but then she very quickly steps one foot and then the other into the log. And before you know it, she has stepped down into and through the log, and she's gone.
Okay, I'll follow.
All right, so you all follow through. You feel that eerie jolt of reality as you are kind of shunted between planes, and the world kind of tilts for a second, and the first thing you notice is the heat. As you enter into the kitchen, you see Price is laying some coins on a table and leaving. She seems to nod to somebody. As you all make it through the kitchen, you all stumble out of the portrait of the cove, and you see sitting waiting at like a side table is the server / bartender. No, it was just the server. The server from when you guys were in the Whole Note before. He's lounging. He looks very tired. You know, he's got this older elfish face, and his eyebrows are dark and a little cartoonishly elongated off of his face, kind of an inch or so too long. But he sees you and he perks up and he says, "Ladies, gentlemen, right this way." And he escorts you, I kid you not, back to your table. Well, no one. It looks undisturbed. There's an old sarsaparilla bottle sitting open.
Throwback.
Wim takes a seat.
Would it, judging from, I guess, the condensation on the bottle of sarsaparilla, like, does it seem like any time has passed?
Yeah, it looks like a few hours.
Okay, yeah.
Normal ass time.
Normal ass time has passed, man.
Normal ass time. Hey, where's Fibblethip? Has he been with us this whole time, or is he at the table, or did he leave?
No, Fibblethip is at the table. He's got a fork in one hand and a knife in the other, and he's slamming his hands on the table just like before you left. And he's like, "I'm ready for my food, man. Any moment, and my food's coming." Yeah. And
oh man.
See,
Talk about bad service.
The waiter urges you all, please take a seat while we prepare your rooms, and ushers you all to the table. Recall, they bring you eel and a mustard pie, and they bring you this ornate cup that looks like it's been made out of parchment, and they hand it to you, and they say, and the server says, "Be careful with the bottom, Dragon Man," and he pours rum into the paper cup.
I see.
Princess Stella, as you sit next to Brakal, they bring you a glass of milk.
Yes.
Two servings of cake.
Awesome.
Is that what you ordered?
That's what I ordered.
Milk and cake.
It was on the menu.
Oh, fucking princess.
Dizzy Reed, as you sit, the bartender steps out from behind the bar and has a couple of drinks in hand, and he sets them down and he begins to mix them. And you see, he pours a little milk in, and he puts a little umbrella in the drink that kind of resembles a lute, like a guitar.
Yep.
And he says, "For the musician, a white halfling." And
what? That's racist.
They bring you roasted Glorium ox with onions and a gigantic tankard of ale. And Mal, they bring you Bebelith shanks and a very fine wine. It's a dark red.
Nice.
They bring Fibblethip a pickled eel and mustard pie. And he says, "Oh, I wanted an eel sandwich." And at that, all your food is in front of you. You can you relax. You can begin to eat.
All right.
Oh boy.
Well, now's as good a time as any. What do you think our next move should be?
Recall, what are you rolling for?
That was perception. Does this look poison?
Anyways, I'll whisper you, John.
Okay.
He's gonna leap back from his table. Huh. Fibblethip, can you tell us anything about what we just went through? I mean,
I've been here the whole time.
that's true. You don't know.
All
anything.
I know is I was sitting here, and you guys left, and I held my seat for the longest time. And some people came, and they talked to me, and they asked me about you guys, and they and they left, and then I sat here for a little while. And then the bartender asked me if you guys should be coming, and I said, yeah, I knew my friends were coming back, and they weren't going to stiff me with all this food I can't pay for. And and sure enough, here you are.
Who came and talked to you?
What? The bartender?
No, you said somebody came and a group of people maybe came and talked to you and asked you about us?
Yeah.
Who were they?
I don't really know them.
What did they look like?
They looked like a...
You have a big eye, you should be able to see pretty well.
They looked like a motley crew of dangerous barmies.
Of motley crew.
How did they like describe
criminals.
us when they were asking for us?
They described Mal and the color of her eyes and her paw and the color of her skin. And they seemed to know who everybody was. They didn't know your names until I told them, but
oh my god.
But they were definitely looking for you guys.
Go ahead, your call.
Well, did they leave or are they still here?
Fibblethip starts to catch on to what's going on. He's like, guys, what's up with all the questions? You guys are asking more questions than they did. Look. No, they're not here anymore. They left a long time ago. I'm hungry.
I put my arm around the homunculus and I say, look, you're still our friend, but I push my entire plate of food towards him. I say, why don't you eat this? You should eat the whole thing. And then I push it towards him, and then I just stare at him evenly.
All right.
Waiting, drinking the whiskey and waiting.
You see Fibblethip, his eye begins to grow in size, and he opens it all the way up, and he begins to smile, and tears begin to form at the bottom of his eye. And
yeah, I look at him.
All of this food is for me, Brokaw?
I look at him.
Before he even lets you answer, he just dives right in, and he starts eating it, like hands, mouth, everything. He's going in.
And I say, you did want the eel and mustard pie. Didn't you?
He said he wanted a sandwich.
Yeah, his mouth is full. I sure wanted a sandwich.
Let's just wait and see what happens here. Yeah, I'm just gonna hang out in silence.
So, Brokaw, you're watching him. Fibblethip stuff his face.
Yeah.
And the front, a bell rings, like a deep, huge bell from out behind the kitchen, like tones. And everyone in the place seems to look towards the front, where the butler and the server, as you guys are familiar now, introduces the newest person to walk into the whole note. And so he slams the gong and he turns to everyone and says, "Announcing the arrival of one Father Jameson McGinnis of..." I'm sorry. Where are you from, sir?
That'd be Paddy's Pub. I'm from Paddy's Pub.
And he said, "Oh, nice. Paddy's Pub." And he gets it wrong. And he puts his hand behind you and he kind of guides you forward. You see, in the whole note, Jameson, it's this 300 or 400 years old inn with a restaurant at the bottom, and then the second floor is all rooms, and it's ornately decorated in classical pillars, and it's got a nice fountainry and ivy, and they serve really like delicacy food and like rarer items for 5 or 6 or 7 silver per meal at a time. It's very lavish. And
is it made of stone?
Yes.
Is there stone? Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's plenty of stone. There's
Lots of stone.
There's stonework. There's marblery. There's some of the bar is a marble countertop.
Ooh.
And the stonework is very well kept. You don't see any dwarves, so you're not sure how it can be so well kept.
That's true.
But it looks pretty good, and it's very crowded. There's a musician playing, and near that is crowded. The whole place is crowded. The only seat that you can find that's open is actually right near the bar. There's a huge table with a bunch of odd-looking, obviously adventurer folk. And
well, I hope you don't mind.
I wonder who he's talking about.
I hope you don't mind that I see that there's not but one place in the inn, and if you don't mind me joining you for the meal here, I may spin you a yarn, or I may listen to yours, and it's just find companionship.
Are you a cop? Are you a cop?
No, not a cop per se. A nomadic wanderer, a seeker of truths, and a greater power, some might say.
What do you look like? What are we looking at here?
A badass.
Is he a dwarf?
Yeah. So what you're looking at? Yeah. Go ahead and describe what Jameson looks like.
He is a dwarf. He's at age 280, so getting up there, starting to look kind of grizzled and weathered.
Nice.
4 feet in height. 140, so fairly trim, athletic type.
That's a pretty trim dwarf.
Yeah, they're super stocky and like dense. That's like a fucking.
Hey,
yeah.
Is that what he looks like?
I pulled up the compendium,
Hey.
well within.
So he's also homeless, is what you're saying, and.
Let's see. Did I have anything else on this? Not really. That's what I'm a dwarf.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the dwarf sits at your table. We're gonna say he sits next to on his left he's got Mal, and on his right he's got Fibblethip. No, actually that's not right. Mal and Wim, because Fibblethip's sitting between his buds. For Caw and Hugh. Yeah. So you sit next to a gnome. There's a deep gnome on your right, and there's a tiefling on your left. This dwarf sits down. He seems amiable. Seems friendly. He instantly takes a shining to you guys. You guys like this guy. He has an air of travel and a deep connection to nature.
Yeah, we'll hear your story.
That's great.
Jameson, the group you see in front of you is pretty impressive. Mal is Mal. What are you wearing? You're wearing a cloak of elven kind, right?
Ooh.
So,
Yeah.
Quite fine.
she's wearing this ornate elvish cloak of dark greens. It seems to sit very comfortably on her figure. She's got purple skin and these glowing, like yellow gold eyes. She carries with her a fairly intense looking book with a stylized golden key on the cover. Let's see. To her is I guess Stella. Looks like a Disney princess. White, blonde, blue eyes.
That's all you really have to say, man.
She moves with grace. She seems to be laughing a lot, very much enjoying her time with her companions.
You are pretty cool.
You've got Dizzy Reed. Dizzy, do you wear your magical items at all times?
What do I have? The only thing I have are...
You have a helm with comprehend languages.
Yeah, I have no idea what that looks like.
I'm pretty sure it looks like a
It's the Galactus hat, right?
It's the thing you pour your spaghetti in.
Colander? That's a colander.
A strainer?
Colander? Yeah. Looks like a colander on your head.
Well, why not?
Soak in all the knowledge, baby.
It's how all the knowledge seeps in. But yeah, I do that. Spaghetti man. I'm a spaghetti warrior.
Yeah.
A spaghetto warrior, if you will.
Yeah. So you see a Lightfoot halfling with a spaghetti colander on his head, and he's got
recorder.
He's got a recorder and a triangle and a kazoo all scattered about the table, and he's fairly intently eating at multiple plates of poached eggs a la carte. Over easy.
Shit!
Nothing but eggs.
Yeah.
I gotta get my protein.
Yeah, just a bunch of eggs. Let's see. Then you've got Burkaw, who is this humongous red dragonborn.
I thought he was humongous.
Not as humongous. Come on.
That's one. Yeah. See, I've got humongous right here, and it leaps out at me. Burkaw, John is shirtless. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. He doesn't really wear much, you know.
Well, you've got your oil pots fucking all over you.
He's got a pauldron and like an ammo belt of like oil, like clay pots full of oil, of all shapes and sizes, on his chest, and he's got a long sword at his side. He seems like a pretty big dude. He's palming whole eel and mustard pies in his hands and piling them on top of Fibb's plate.
That's right.
Fibblethip is this little homunculus. He's like 2 feet tall and he's like 90% eyeball. And then who's left? We got Hugh. On the other side of Fibblethip is this mountain of a man who wears an owlbear pelt as clothing, like as a jacket over his blood-stained armor.
You should really just look at the picture of him in the Roll20. I don't know if there's a way to like pull him up, but
I'm sure there is.
I can do that.
Okay, yeah. Just everything you need to know about him.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's really cool.
That is pretty cool.
He's Astaroth.
And sitting on his shoulder is a very prim and proper looking bird, a crow. And
top hat.
It wears a tuxedo and a top hat.
The crow is wearing a tuxedo.
We've just
the crow has a very thickly fitted tuxedo and top hat. You find that it's easier to look at if you don't ask questions.
Yeah.
And,
she's canon, bro.
And that's the group, right?
Yeah, that's all.
Wim is this deep gnome.
He's great skin, Bert.
Yeah, he's got these like USSR looking 80s like welding goggles on his head, and he wears these slippers everywhere he goes. But he generally seems like a good guy. And you why don't you all enjoy each other's company and figure out what you want to do next in town? At any time, let's say it's like midnight, and
while we're eating, can we have like a long rest, or like while we're talking?
Well,
or
I think
is
that's
that
the plan. I think the next thing we should do is probably rest here.
Do is slow rest.
Yeah, I'm kind of burned out on spells and stuff.
They said they're preparing rooms for us.
Jameson to a good old-fashioned full rest.
That's right.
Right.
Wow, Burkaw, sounds like you really want to get to know Jameson really well.
I'd like to impress the group with my knowledge of the stonework in the area.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Jameson.
So what's your story, Jameson? Why are you? What brings you to these
first,
parts?
I would like to impress you with my knowledge of the stonework.
God, impress me with goddamn knowledge.
Whoa, Dizzy.
Please, please excuse, sir.
Don't knowledge shame him, man.
So you got a 13?
Yeah, 9. I get double proficiency because of stone cutting.
Nice. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna whisper this to you.
I'm so interested to hear what you have to say about stones, Jameson. You really seem like an interesting fellow.
In my travels, I've encountered many stones.
Oh my god, this is worse than Griff with the turnips.
Already? You've been here
Did you say
2
turnips?
minutes.
That's second only to the potato in my family.
I will have a friend to introduce you to, although we don't know where he went. He disappeared.
What is your favorite kind of stone?
Can one really have a favorite type of stone? I'd say shale.
I like
it
gold.
Sounds like shillelagh.
Oh,
cool, man.
Folks, if you look at the marble work, you can tell that it's imported directly from the plane of Earth. You could tell by the unnatural pattern. Isn't that something? You don't see that these days, especially in strange places such as this.
I guess not.
I'll just take your word for it.
It's mildly impressive, his knowledge of stonework.
Have you ever had kidney stones before, Friar?
Yes, they're quite good.
No comment.
Sometimes it's like a darn BB gun.
Okay.
Oh man.
So how did you come to be in Sigil?
Well, I was on a quest, as you know, many people are. Many people are in this place. I was part of a pilgrimage seeking knowledge to end a civil war between my peoples. The civil war debating on whether pineapple goes on pizza or not.
Oh.
The bloodshed is ferocious, and it cannot be ended by anything but true knowledge and words of absolute power. So I'm traveling the world, seeking all the strongest phrases and idioms that might bring peace to our land.
So, what side are you on? Just to be clear.
I vowed to take no sides. When I accepted my pilgrimage, I gave up any right to an opinion. It is only the truth I seek, in knowledge.
What is the truth?
Very noble of you.
Well, let me give an example of how the quest has worked so far. As you see, I do travel alone, so things have not been going well. We started 30 strong, setting out. And,
oh my god.
Many have been lost. But if you look at my gauntlets, which are what gauntlets of ogre power, they're quite impressive.
Oh, so big, so powerful.
So wait, when you say that they were lost, does that mean they were corrupted or that they died?
Died.
Oh. Okay.
What exactly were you doing when you were looking for these words of power?
Well, we're traversing the land in dangerous and dark places, and we're knowledge seekers. We're very trusting, and sometimes that gets the better of us. Going back to the gauntlets, how I picked these up after an ogre himself slayed half my band. We invited him in to discuss the words of power, and he had these gauntlets, and they didn't do anything. And he wanted us to show him how the words worked. So we taught him our 38th special phrase, which is to hold on loosely.
Hold on loosely!
But as soon as we did, he gained incredible power with the gauntlets and slew 10 of our party. Thankfully, we hadn't gotten to the end of it, and the gauntlets flew off, and the rest of us were able to hold him down. And that's why it's important that we collect all these words to the fullest, because had he known to don't let go, we would have surely all been killed.
Son of a bitch.
My god. I still don't see what this has to do with pineapple on pizza.
Okay.
We're just seeking absolute astral truths that might bring peace.
The ultimate.
The words themselves, may not.
They hold. I understand. I just nodded him knowingly, and almost all the fire has left my eyes from being aboard that pirate ship, but I just keep staring at that homunculus, watching him eat.
Yeah. So wait, Prakai, are you like hungry? Do you get hungry?
Stella.
Yeah.
Of course, Dragonborns get hungry.
But I'm just confused. Do you not want food?
I look at her. I just said, our buddy, he just looked really hungry to me, and I just want to make sure that he gets a full balanced meal.
Okay.
And then I keep drinking the whiskey, and stare off You can just see it in my eyes. You can see me thinking about the pirate ship in my eyeballs. And
That's all you're thinking about.
I want to look at Fibblethip one more time and just say, is there
Okay.
is there anything you can remember about what these people looked like? Anything at all? Like what race were they? Their hair, their eyes, their
Yeah. They had a symbol. They had a symbol on their clothing. It was the symbol of the Bleak Cabal. I guess that means, you know, Mal, on second thought, I guess that means they were probably members of the Bleak Cabal.
Yeah, Fibblethip, that would be an assumption that one would make.
He leans in very close to you, Mal, and he goes, "You should know, the Bleak Cabal, they really hated your brother."
I gathered that.
Oh, well, what do you need me for? And then he kind of stands up on his stool, and he holds his hand up in the air, and he says, "I could use a real sandwich." And he points to Brakal, and he says,
"A sandwich."
And he could too. And Fibblethip sits back down, and he very confidently grabs his knife.
All right. Well, yeah, Jameson, that was an interesting story. I suppose if we come across universal truths, in our journey.
So the waiter, Eyebrows, he comes by and he hands you all keys. Keys. And he they're small, silverish looking keys. He very quietly
we each get a room by ourselves.
Yeah, you each get a room, and
awesome.
And he wants to know who's the captain.
I'm the captain.
He kind of okay.
I like to throw my hat in this hat.
I thought Wim was the leader.
Okay, nope. so he looks around the group and he asks for who's the captain is, and he immediately he meets Dizzy Reed, the captain, and he says, "All right," and he says, "You'll be getting this key," and he hands you a golden key, and he says, "You get the captain's quarters, and you got to pay for the crew."
Well, no, that works. Dizzy Reed is in charge of the funds.
Party. I'm actually in charge of the party gold, so.
All right.
So he slips you a bill, and it has everyone's food tallied on it, and it
I'm gonna try to be like, is this really the best price you can give? And then I try to persuade him into giving me something cheaper.
Oh no! Hey!
Oh my God!
Damn!
A plus 10 to persuasion.
I've double
proficiency you're a bard.
Because I'm a bard, and
Okay.
I'm hefty.
So he says, for the new captain of the Whole Note Inn, of course. He says the food. Let's just say tonight's celebration of your captainship is complimentary, and if you pay for everyone's stay, then the food is on the house. And you successfully convince him.
All right.
So he takes the bill and he folds it up and he pockets it, and he hands out the keys, and you guys are welcome to plan for tomorrow and then go to sleep.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
He sort of leaves you to your conversation.
So we all got separates, right? No one's
Yeah.
rooming with anyone? Okay, cool.
Everyone had separates, and he even gave Jameson a key of his own.
Oh, why thank you, sir. I'm quite used to sleeping under the stars, but I appreciate the kindness. You've done me a turn of kindness.
He bows very deeply and goes back off to the front of the Whole Note Inn.
Well, awesome.
Well, let's see. First of all, we should probably all sleep lightly tonight because there's a chance the Bleak Cabal could break into our rooms and try to kill us.
No.
But besides that.
Besides that, well, I have some business I want to conduct tomorrow at Peak on Rook Street, right by the Hall of Speakers, where we were before. Beyond that, if you guys want to start looking for Greenbeard's treasure, we could do that, or if anybody has any other ideas.
We should
Well,
split up.
What options do we have? What are just to remind me? We could go and we could look for the treasure. We can be what's it called? We can be gladiators, right? More or less.
We can talk to Oli, who I want to talk to.
Yeah, if you talk to Oli, you can talk to Oli about joining the gymnasium squad.
That's right.
What
other quest threads do we have? Under our quest tab,
there's
in our menu.
The Davos, but we already sort of talked to him.
I should make a quest tab. That would make things a little easier.
Oh yeah.
There's Fel the Dabas, who is standing. Last time you saw him on a corner near. Actually, it's like on the other side of Sigil, where the execution was. But let's see. You've got Oli wanted to, or Mal wanted to talk to Oli. There's Kylie is probably somewhere around. If you wanted to go to any specific place, you could either find Kylie and get an escort, or you could use Fibblethip. Fibblethip, you will remember, was created by Brother Earwright, and he was pre-programmed with like trivia knowledge and location knowledge of all of Sigil. Mm-hmm. He's just short of being a competent tout, but
just a little bit too retarded.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit too naive.
Yeah, that's what I gathered.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all you guys know. You wanted to go shopping.
Yeah, we do want to do that.
You want to check out the gymnasium.
Yeah, you can probably some magic item trades, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys plan to meet Oli at Rook Street at peak, which is noon, you guys have time to rest, get up, do any prep, and then go ahead to Rook Street if you like.
Yeah, let's have an early morning.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. All right, so everyone gets a full rest.
So all our HP is back, right?
You get all of your HP back, and you get up to half of your total hit dice back.
Say that again?
You get up to you get half of your total hit dice back.
If you expended any hit dice during a short rest, which we haven't taken one in a while, but
no. All right, I'm back.
How many should you have?
As many as your levels.
As many as your level.
Gotcha.
What level are you, Kevin?
3.
You're 3. Justin is 4. Is that right?
Say what?
Or 3.
Justin,
what level are you?
What?
He's 4.
I just hit 4 last time.
Okay, cool. That's good. So you guys rest. I think everybody is totally at full health and then full hit dice, if that's correct.
Yeah.
And is there anything you guys wanted to do before you go to Rook Street?
I don't know if this has been established before, but Stella starts every day with a different hairstyle that takes hours to set up.
Okay.
It takes hours.
I hope you got up early.
You got up very early in the morning.
Lots of hair.
Start doing your hair. That's fine. That's fine.
Thomas, I did have that. This was in the email that I sent to you. I wanted to try to communicate with.
That's right.
You know who? You want me to send you? I've got it in front of me. Do you want me to send it to you or just?
I have it in front of me too.
Oh wow, that's good.
I'll go ahead and type you something real quick.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna grab a beer.
Okay.
I like Roll20. I've never used this before. It's a really cool system.
Yeah.
You know, once you get more accustomed to it, you kind of realize its powers.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man.
It's not just me clicking and putting 50 spells in the chat.
Oh, it could be that.
Gotta see how everything works, right?
That's the main
Ghost.
intended purpose, is to cast Fairy Fire over and over again.
Yeah, I looked at like Fantasy Grounds and some of the other alternatives, but I don't know. Roll20, like the interface is so simple that
It's nice.
I feel like it's probably best for all of us.
We tried another one before, right? No,
I haven't.
No, it was Roll20 a long time ago, but none of us could play because we just kept drawing dicks all over everything.
Well, once we figured out we could draw dicks,
Just like
that
in
was all
Silent
we
Hill.
did.
That's fair. Am I the only one who has their 3D dice turned on?
Yes, Kevin. You're the only one who...
I used to, but everyone yelled at me, so I had to turn it off.
Should I turn it off for you guys?
No shot.
What does it look like?
Oh, it looks awesome.
Yeah, do it.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
The shit
Oh.
roll.
Oh, we don't see it.
Oh, we don't see it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't see
then I'm
anything.
keeping that shit. I
So
thought
turn it off.
off.
Turn it off.
Fuck you. I'm definitely keeping it on. You guys can't see it. 'Cause it's fun.
Damn.
Hell, I want to
like-
roll physical dice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
always the best part about rolling. Rolling physical dice is always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
It's more satisfying for sure.
Especially when you like drop it on the floor and then you have to find it, and then if it's bad, you get to say, "I have to roll it again."
No, if you drop it on the floor, that's a 1.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I think we
Oh,
ruled
shit.
that. Remember that? That it used to
Yeah,
fucking.
Thomas got angry with us because we would drop it so much.
Well, that's because it's so
Yeah.
easy to lose it under shit.
True that. True that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, caught up in you.
So Sigil have a beach. We should go to the beach and have a beach episode.
Ooh,
Sigil
wear my
Pepper.
Hawaiian shirt. John, do you like my Hawaiian shirt? I bought it at Walmart today.
Hold on, let me look at it. Yeah, you look pretty fucking cool, dude. You better have some Hawaiian shirts ready for this weekend, because that's all I'm gonna be wearing.
Thomas is
Hell
that.
yeah.
No, I'm still typing.
Okay, cool.
John, we getting some Don Dons on Saturday?
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we are. Maybe for lunch and dinner.
That's
Hell yeah.
a
I'm
lot
down
of
with that.
don-dons. That's a lot of fried okra, man.
Double down.
Did you guys see that Rail Garden got fucking closed?
What?
What happened?
Already?
It's not closed, but it's like they didn't do all their fucking inspections. So like
Delay.
the only thing that's open right now is the diner and ice cream parlor.
Oh,
Everything
yeah.
else is
Best
fucking
part.
shut down.
Yeah, John's all right with that, clearly.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter today.
Wonder how long they'll be downtown with Charlie Brown for.
A little while. I don't know. I mean, however long it takes to get all the inspections and shit.
Good, those gentrifiers and
Yeah,
stuff.
those fucks
Yeah,
make it a
Steve
fun
Hildreth
place for people
Those
to hang out.
assholes. Why would you? How dare you make someplace that seems really cool?
Yeah. The people who aren't part of the Midtown elite come and hang out in. Ew.
People from Germantown.
God.
Fuck 'em.
I like Steve, but god
man.
damn, dude. Ugh.
He follows our YouTube.
Okay.
Wait, do we YouTube this?
I don't know.
No.
No.
I'm kidding. We don't have a fucking YouTube. We're just kids.
I mean, we have a YouTube, but we've been recording the past couple of sessions just really for like our own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex, Alex will upload them privately, I guess.
Yeah,
And,
I could do that. I mean, I haven't been
you know.
doing that because, like,
Yeah.
I've just got the Google Drive folder, but if we want to put it on YouTube, I can.
No, I mean, Google Drive works just as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got the write-ups, which I'm probably
Yeah.
never going to catch up on, but...
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them today during work. It was great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, they're pretty dope.
When I
So,
got... Go ahead. Did you? With this real D&D.
Okay, Alex, so you see the second message I sent you?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, so yeah, you guys rest. You're fully healed. Everything's great. The next day, it is raining in the clerk's ward. It's a common. It's not uncommon. The rain, it pours down at a steady pace. The clerk's ward is cleaner than where you guys initially came from when you first entered Sigil. There's not a lot of smoke or smog, but you still can't see the sky very well, and with the rain pouring down, it makes it a little harder. Rook Street, as you guys begin, you guys leave the Hall of Speakers, and you head down Hedge Road to make it to Rook Street. Rook Street is very clean. It's very pristine. It has debris-free white granite pavement.
Ooh.
And Rook Street, it snakes throughout the clerk's ward. It becomes Thistlewind, it becomes Scholars Row, and basically it is your route from the Hall of Speakers to the Hall of Records, which are the two major, like, bureaucratically important areas that define the clerk's ward.
Okay. Did we know? Sorry, not to interrupt, but did we know like the Hall of Records? Like, is there like a? They're like a bunch of. There's like a bunch of different factions, right? And like groups, and like who's in the Hall of Records, if anybody. You may have already told us this, if so I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, you. I don't think I have. As you walk, we'll say Fibblethip is answering any questions that you have, and he says the Hall of Records is headquarters to the Faded. The Faded. It's one of Sigil's 15 factions. The Faded believe that the multiverse belongs to those who seize it. They're very non-lawful, but they're not bad people. The Factal of the Faded, Duke Rowan Darkwood, he established a alliance with the Faded and the Mercy Killers long ago, and it brought the Faded to factionhood, and now they run the Hall of Records.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think we'll continue on to Rook Street.
Okay. So you make.
Recall.
Recall.
I was gonna say, well, Hobble Gobble, how much do you know about this tiger kitty, Ollie, man? What can you tell me about him and what he wants with this gymnasium?
Ollie's been around since before I was born. Ollie is kind of like my grandfather. He's strong, and he's loyal, and he's really nice to me, and he's almost always with the bird. And what was the rest of the question? The gymnasium? I'm not really allowed in the gymnasium, and in fact, I'm usually just not even allowed to leave the Hall of Speakers. But now that you guys are here, you know, it's a good thing.
Helping you out a little bit, letting you out of the cage.
Yeah.
We're still in the cage.
Yeah, the cage is Sigil. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that eel last night? Did you?
It gave me a pretty bad stomachache. I'm not gonna lie.
You must be pretty hungry, Recall.
I look away thoughtfully.
Yeah. He says the gymnasium. I'm not really allowed there, but I know it's a place where you can make a lot of money if you're a good fighter, and that's what Oli did. And he even fights on the Will of the One's team, the side of the One's team, and he made the Will of the One a gymnasium squad, and that's where you guys come in.
Yeah.
He sort of gives you guys thumbs up.
Shit.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you march down Hedgerow and you make it to Rook Street, and Rook Street is really clean. You see pairs of Dabas are like sweeping as they float alongside the streets. You see, for the most part, people stay to the sides of the road, because the roads, while the road snakes, it is wide, and it is very fine pavement, and the middle of the road seems to be reserved for larger traffic. People are in these chair sedans, 4 people at a time, carrying 2 people sitting in a very ornate chair.
That's a chair coupe.
Yeah, totally. And as they, I don't even know what to say to that. it is definitively a chair coupe, a couped chair, and
Coupe the chair.
Yeah, and Rook Street seems really, some of the buildings have thatched roofs. For the most part, everything is clean. The lights are on. 2- and 3-story buildings. For the most part, some are businesses. Some seem like gathering places. None of it really seems very residential. And the rain seems to let up for a moment. You see at the end of the road, kind of closer to Scholars Row, very familiar silhouette of a big fat cat standing on the side of the road, with his arms crossed, just sort of looking up in the air and looking around. And you see Oli, and he's hanging out, just waiting for you guys. And as you approach, he waves and he says, "Oh, great, perfect, just the people I wanted to meet. How was your night? Where'd you end up staying?"
We stayed at the Whole Note Inn and killed some pirates.
Really?
We hung out with the captain's crew.
Yeah, we've been here for like 5 minutes and we're already like murderers.
Wow. Good for you. I'm happy to hear it. Yeah, you guys are gonna make a great squad.
Well,
I imagine, yeah, Jameson is looking around pretty nervous.
I turned to Jay. Actually, I'm gonna awaken mine to him. Hang on. I'm gonna speak inside your head, Jameson. Give me a second.
Jameson, you hear it's very this is not something you've experienced before. Out of like a corner of your mind, kind of in the back of your head, you hear Mal's voice, as if she's talking directly telepathically to you. It's kind of creepy. There's a little bit of static that comes with it.
I'm creeped out and static. Yes.
Yeah, like white TV. Yeah, it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand at odds. The cat man, the cat man walks up to you, Jameson, and he says, "Well, I don't think we've gotten an opportunity to meet yet. I'm gonna show you Oli. That should pop up to everybody."
Oh, he's a tabaxi.
Yeah.
I wondered about that.
He's wearing pretty casual work clothing. He's got these knuckles on his hands. He seems pretty happy. He slaps you on the back, Jameson, and he says, "Any friend of these guys is a friend of mine. So, as far as I'm concerned, welcome to the squad. Welcome to the gymnasium squad."
Oh.
I turn to Mal and I say, "This isn't gambling, is it? So this doesn't seem quite."
It's fine.
Gymnasium is just exercise.
It's kind of like gambling when you think about it.
Well,
yeah, it's just like exercise, and if somebody dies, just don't even worry about it. Just forget about it. Don't even let it bother.
Keep going.
Oh no!
Yeah. All the killing in the gymnasium. Listen, if you kill somebody in the gymnasium, you can apologize to them in the locker room. It's that simple.
But
yeah.
And so he welcomes you and he explains. So Mal and I were gonna have a chat and sort of hash things out. You know, it was my job to protect your brother with my life. He died.
Yeah, you know, no big deal, Holy.
We're gonna figure these things out, but while we do, why don't the rest of you come on in here and say hi to a friend of mine. Don't worry about it. If she seems a little too inquisitive, I promise you, Lolo is an extremely good person. And if you stay on a good side, you're going to end up profiting. You know what I mean? Like money and stuff. And he points to a building kind of across the street, and it seems to be like a storefront, and it has double doors that are fairly wide on a couple elevated granite steps. And there's
granite.
There's a
God damn it!
His favorite.
Shale's my favorite. Damn it. Were you not listening last night?
No. Shale?
Man, your character and Ashton's character are going to get along really well.
Yeah. Wim is what do you want to say? Wim is not even with you guys. Like he went to sleep with he went to his room and then he just never met you guys in the morning.
Wake up.
He was kind of like. He was really out of it the night before. He seemed to be talking to thin air, very gently apologizing. Yeah, very gently apologizing to people you can't see for things that sound like he could have never done them, and he's probably just taking a personal day today. And you haven't really known him for that long either, so it doesn't really bother you, I guess.
He seems like a murderer.
Yeah, honestly, he does. He killed a lot of people, guys, and he's crazy. So, Oli ushers you into this side store essentially that says Lolo's, and he opens the door, and it chimes a little bell at the top that rings, and you notice immediately upon walking into the building that it is much larger on the inside than it is on the outside. And it is a 2-story shop, and it's divided into what immediately looks to be 3 sections on the first floor. There's a huge library where there are both books and wands on display. Then in the center of the room, there is a circular desk/countertop area that doesn't seem to have anybody behind/inside of it at the moment. But there's like ledgers and a safe of some kind. And over to the far other end of the room, there's a bunch of suits of armor and different cloaks and weapons, swords, and shields. And then there is a staircase in the back that has a sign that points up that says potions, poisons, and others. You all walk into the shop. It's very large and roomy. There is a fireplace crackling. There are people inside. There seem to be maybe 15 to 20 shoppers or guests. You also see, standing near the stairs to the second floor, is an orc. He seems to be, he immediately looks at you all as you walk in.
Like a half-orc or like an orc?
An orc. Okay. He's got his arms crossed. He's leaning against the wall. He's got his hair tied up in a top knot. And he's got like these wicked inverse canine fangs coming out the bottom of his mouth, like his jaw, that like frame his jaw. And he, as you walk in, and he says, "Don't touch anything unless you plan to buy it." And he says it in common, and then you all look at him, and he says it again in a couple different languages. He says it in Dwarvish, he says it in Gnomish.
And so Dizzy Reed just hears the same thing over and over?
Yeah,
pretty much. Why are you saying the same thing so many times?
He's crazy.
Damn.
The shop is huge. It's got a second floor. There are people shopping around. You see humans, elves. You see a drow or two. You see a man in a giant suit of armor walking around. There is a cat, like an actual house cat, that seems to be perched and sleeping on the countertop. And the place is huge. It's full of obviously magical weapons, arms, and armor. And you guys can do whatever you want.
Okay. So, while Jameson looks for birds, apparently. Did you incorporate that into your character? He's a bird catcher as well?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tom. I don't know if they've told you, but I'm a professional bird catcher, so...
That's Kevin's job, IRL. So he's looking for birds in the store.
Nice.
Click. You should have been click the dick.
Yeah, did you try to capture Huggins when you saw him?
I must capture.
Huggins can be captured by no man.
Yeah.
Smart for that.
So I'm gonna walk up to the orc guy and ask him, like, so do you guys do magic item trades around here?
So he kind of does like the Slavic squat to get to your eye level because he's a full orc. So he crouches down and puts his elbows on his knees, and he's like, yeah, we trade. You can't sell unless you have a license from the PTC.
What's the PTC?
Pretty Titty Club.
He sort of.
I like that.
He looks at you with a pitiful sort of look on his face, and he says, "You're new, aren't you? You're prime."
I'm just trying to see if you knew what it meant. I know what it means.
All right, make a bluff.
Deception check.
Yeah, roll a deception.
Deception check, huh?
No, deception.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
So the orc laughs and goes, "Oh yeah, well, we're all up to date with all our PTC, invoices and our the regulations. We were inspected last month.
He thinks you're from the PTC.
Everything is fine. And as far as I know, Lolo has made all of her payments, and we very much respect all of the rules. We understand that if Sigil is going to succeed, we all must work together." And he seems to start going into sort of some kind of rehearsed speech about the importance of interplanetary trade rules and regulations. And he says, obviously we notate every single item that comes into our store. If we purchase it, we find out its detailed history. We perform your standard array of curse detection and anti-hex prohibitors, and everything's fine. What was your name again?
The name's Dizzery Bumblefoot.
And what's your badge number?
Badge number 8.
He seems his eyes go wide again, and he says, well, it's an honor to meet you, Inspector General, and if there is anything I can do for you, feel free to ask. I'll point you to anything you're looking for, and remember, there's no better guy in all of Sigil than your buddy Rod.
Ah, Rod. Is that your name, son?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, so educate me here, son. How does the trading here work?
Okay. Well, first of all, as you know, per PTC regulations,
of course,
we will not buy any magical item from any adventurer unless it has a detailed history, including its plane of origin, any spells that have been cast on it, any spells that it can cast, any hexes it may or may not possess, and we perform all of these. We get detailed histories on anything we purchase. Now, of course, with great leniency that the PTC allows, we will take it upon ourselves to run these tests if we come across these items from a barter. So we will take any items from you and sell to you anything equal to its value, which we very much appreciate the fact that you created this loophole for merchants like us, and it allows us to take an adequate time to increase our stock while providing a service and distributing well-known, well-researched artifacts throughout the plains to the benefit of everyone.
Of course, it's for the benefit of everybody that the PTC oversees this stuff and works well. Isn't that right, Rod?
Absolutely. You see, Rod is now standing at complete attention. He's
at ease, son. At ease.
Yeah.
This isn't a formal inspection. I'm just here because I have items I want to trade.
Oh, Inspector
and my
General.
friends here, and I, kind of gestured towards the rest of the crew.
Oh, well, of course, come in, Inspector General and all his friends. May I introduce to you? And Rod walks over to the countertop and he knocks on it and he says, my esteemed boss and the proprietor of this wonderful establishment, Lolo, and pop like a door, like a trap door in the ground pops open, and a very small creature comes out. It almost looks like a gnome at first glance, but it's actually it's a mouse folk.
Some Pokemon.
Oh
It's like
my god.
It's like a small mouse person, and she wears hold on, I think I had a picture. She wears a tabard of white and red.
So it's
and
like fucking Redwall.
I'm sorry, white and gold.
I find.
And she has sort of like a hairpiece on over like blonde hair, and she carries around like some kind of mechanical contraption that looks like a one of those toys you had when you were a kid. That is like a handle on one side and a long stick with a claw on the other side.
How hot is she?
Here, there's Lolo.
Okay, -2.
-2.
I don't know, John. Maybe Dragonborn are into that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, John. Why don't you roll to see how hot you think she is?
Well,
damn it! That's what I was just rolling for.
Got a 10.
So
-2.
you could go either way on this mouse person, man.
No, dude, 50 is not a pass on the guy scale because that's a 5 out of 10, which is not a pass.
Ultimately, the guy scale is a binary, and everybody knows it.
It is
If you're Zach
binary.
Gordon,
It's like
if you're Zach
Facebook.
Gordon, it's a binary.
It becomes a tipping point where you're
you just said that it's a 5 out of 10, so the answer is no. So at
the end of the day, it's a yes or no question.
Well, no, but if you're drunk, then 5 sometimes feels more like a pass.
Okay.
A little bit later, after a few more beers,
We're getting out of character. What does Bracaw think?
Yeah, what does Bracaw think?
He thinks 10 -2.
All right, so she's
So,
easily an
wait,
8 out of 10.
8?
Yeah, 8 out of 20.
Oh.
So 4.
Yeah. Okay, so anyways, the obviously not sexual, not attractive, diminutive mouse person.
I mean, hey, well, she's not nothing, you know?
You gotta respect these mouse people, man.
Respect.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice save there, John.
He's just
Nice
saying
save.
that the Dragonborn dick is gonna rip her in half.
Oh my god. All right. Continue.
And Lolo pops up and she says, Rod, who do we have here? And he explains, well, we have the esteemed privilege of being visited by the Inspector General of the Planar Trade Consortium, Dizzy Reed Bumblefoot. And at this point, I need you to roll another bluff check.
Alright.
Oh,
No.
Jesus, what did you do? Who posted this?
It's
Oh, I didn't see don't click.
don't click. Yeah. There you go.
Alright, so,
Dizzy Reed distracted by this mouse is just the unbelievable beauty, you know?
yeah.
Damn.
Lolo sort of like sighs and scratches her head with the claw, and she turns.
Oh my god. Okay.
And turns to Rod and says, "Well, just make sure that whatever you do, don't buy whatever bridge the Inspector General attempts to sell you on his way out, okay?" And Rod sort of like looks at her like a little disappointed, and he takes his position back over where he was standing by the stairs, but he keeps an eye out on the conversation, and he's kind of generally watching as you see like a drow messing with some of the arms and armor, and like he's kind of profiling over there, keeping an eye on the dark elf, and
Because he's a dark elf, because he's a drow,
yeah, because he's a dark elf.
making sure he doesn't steal anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And Lolo turns to you all and she says, well, obviously you're not from the Planar Trade Consortium, but welcome to Lolo's. And now that you all have my attention and I'm out of my workshop, what can we do any business? What are we doing? Are we a group of adventurers?
Well, I look over at Oli, kind of waiting for him to say something.
Yeah. Oli says, oh, hey, Lolo. And she looks up and she says, oh, the cat. She ails very deeply.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's cats versus mice.
And says, Oli, why are you always bringing these stray adventurers to me? And he says, no, this one is different. This one, these guys are going to be on my gymnasium squad, so I want you to give them good deals. Don't give them the sort of prices that you would give to me or anyone else that you generally dislike and or are neutral to. Give them some good prices. And Oli sort of begins to back away and kind of Mal, if maybe we should have a conversation outside or something.
All right.
We can talk about my general.
That sounds good.
All right.
I'm sorry to the rest of the group that everything went wrong there. Now we don't get any discounts, I guess.
No,
No.
everything's fine.
Everything's totally fine.
Yeah, totally.
So for a moment, we'll
All
see
the good
that Mal
deals.
is outside having a to be written and emailed conversation.
Okay.
But
sounds good. Yeah, we'll just waive it.
for the moment, Mal will walk in later at any time she finds convenient. But for the moment, Mal has left, and it's the other, what is it, 5 of you?
Yeah.
And you're standing around, and Lolo turns to you all and she says, "Well, how about this? Let's start here. Does anyone have anything they would like to sell?"
I would like to trade this helm of comprehend languages for maybe something a little more useful.
Not the soup colander.
So
And I take it off my head.
Okay, so you take it off. Do you hand it to her?
Yeah, let her, let her try to, gauge how much it's worth.
Okay, so she sort of evaluates it. She puts on these spectacles that she had kind of hanging underneath her, underneath her robe. She puts them on, and they have multiple lenses, and she starts flicking lenses on them more and more. And she says, "Wow, I mean, this is a neat trinket. So it lets you speak and understand. It lets you comprehend any language. It doesn't let you speak them. And when you're on the plane of limbo, you have advantage to it. You're good at you're altering and moving non-magical objects. What is it? Where did you get this? This thing is absurd."
I got it. You don't need to worry about where I got it. I just need to know what you've got that I can, what kind of stuff you've got that you think would be what you'd be willing to trade for it.
Okay. I would give you Tree Fitty. Let's see. I mean, it's obviously a magical item of wondrous nature, but I not shaped like this or tainted by the plane of limbo. But these things come and go from my shop every now and then. They're pretty good sellers. It'll move. Let me ask you this: is there anything you're looking for?
What should I like? Let me look. Like, can I just look for some magical item and then just be like, "Hey, this work?"
Yeah, this place is full of magical items.
All right, give me a sec here. I'm gonna look around and look on the items list and see if there's anything
she says, let me make it easy for you. We've got 3 sections in the store.
Yep.
I'll hold on to this for you, or you know what? And she hands it back to you. She says, "Hold on to this and think about what you want. Do you want a book or a wand? And if so," she points over to the library. She says, "Do you want arms and armor? And if so," and she points over to where Rod is, standing by the arms and armor. And she says, "And if you want anything else, like a potion or a poison," and she points up, and she says, "Second floor is where you want to be."
Okay. I'll look around and I'll have a couple of things that maybe it'd be cool to trade for. All right, cool. Okay. I'm good for now.
All right, so she turns and says, "Anybody else have anything they're looking to get rid of?"
Does this chick have weapons, or is it the other dude?
No. This whole shop is Lolo's, and the weapons are on the wall, like kind of near where Rod is standing. There's a whole section dedicated to arms and armor. So you see maybe 2 or 3 people standing in the arms and armor area. You see a bunch of weapons. I mean, there are swords and axes, one-handed and two-handed, spears, scythes, whips, all sorts of, 3-sectional staffs. There's weapons out the frame. Most of them seem to have some sort of enchantment on them. It looks like almost everything in the store is enchanted. You see what looks to be a humongous Viking figure.
Humongous.
Yeah. He is as big as you are, Hugh, and he is wearing a what can only be called the pelt of a polar bear.
Ooh.
Like and he is evaluating the two-handed weapons over on the wall, and he seems to have one. He seems to have a pretty big sword sheathed next to his side, but he is examining what looks to be a very crooked bastard sword made of black steel, and he's got his eye up.
Whale bone.
Pretty fucking intense. I'm turn to Lolo and say, "Hey there, little Miss Lolo. I like your outfit, the little rabbit thing. Pretty cool. Listen here, hon. What I'm trying to do right now is find myself a nice big old two-hander. You know, something that'll really get the blood flowing from my enemies."
So why don't you roll a persuasion?
I hope I'm good at that.
Sure you are.
You know, a little caw action coming out.
Yeah, Huggins.
Huggins calls persuasively. Oh wow.
Well,
that's better.
All right, so
I'm gonna go over to the weapons counter to watch this as well.
Okay. Well, the counter is just like a circular counter in the middle of the room. The weapons are over there where that Viking and some other people are, and Lolo hops down out of her chair, and she hops onto the counter and very dexterously hops over, and Hugh, she grabs you by the hand and she walks you over to the arms and armor, and she says, I've got something I'll show you. I show it to everyone who comes in here asking for a two-handed sword, and it's a bit of an artifact, and you know what? It's better that I just show it to you. And so,
all right, you've certainly got my attention.
She escorts you over to the arms and armor section, past the like there are full plate. Engravings on the wall, like multiple different pieces of full plate armor, all engraved in different enchantments. And as you pass them, you get to where the Viking was standing, and he sort of he nods to Lolo, and he steps aside. And now Lolo points up to what the Viking was looking at, and now the three of you are kind of standing in a line. And she says, "Well, I figure I might as well show it to you. It is literally the most cursed weapon in all of existence."
Oh my god! Whoa!
And she points at this sword, and it is obviously a two-handed blade. It is made from what looks to be some sort of black steel or obsidian, or some kind of pearlescent black dark steel, and it looks like it was forged by some sort of force of nature itself. It has wicked barbs coming out in all directions, although it definitely does have a major slicing angle and a point to it. I mean, this thing looks like it obviously cannot ever be sheathed, and you feel it looks like there is but like maybe a tiny layer of smoke that is being let off from the weapon that just sort of seems to drift and dissolve as it falls to the floor.
You vape, bro?
Sorry, that got me good.
And Lolo says, I've been trying to get rid of this thing for a long time, and if you want it, I'll trade you any sort of basically enchanted weapon in exchange. 1 for 1. Simple as that.
Does fire count for enchantment?
Oh yeah, fire. Fire is an element, and if you're telling me that you have a sword and when you cut somebody, it lights them on fire, I'll take it.
Oh, I've got a mace that lights people on fire.
Oh,
or morning star.
Show me.
Look at this morning star, and I hand it to her.
Okay,
and then I wizard it back to my hand. I'm just kidding. Here you go. Take a look again.
So she stumbles under the weight of your morning star, and then you whip it back to your hands. And she seems slightly entertained and slightly peeved, and she says, "Oh, absolutely." And she sticks out a hand as if to make a handshake with you. All right. So you shake your hand, and in an instant, the sword that was on the wall in front of the Viking is now in your hand, and your flaming morning star is now on the wall. And the Viking looks at you and sort of hold on. Let's do this real quick.
He's nuts.
He's nuts. He's nuts. Can't hold me back. Let's see.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Ooh. That's.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought it was King
Embarrassing.
Wow,
Holy shit, that guy looks real fucking cool.
He's
like
like
a space
Umbria.
I'm gonna like give him some nuts.
Crag.
Help, bros.
Bears.
That clip doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. You give him the nux, and he sort of laughs, and he gives you nux as well, and he says, "Ha! You are a braver man than I to wield that blade."
I want to
Oh
just
my
kind
God.
of do some.
Yeah. And I'll send you an email.
About how fucked you are? Oh my god.
Let's see.
Yeah, you traded like a flaming weapon for the most cursed weapon of all time.
Well, yeah, he's
Maybe he was
humongous.
cursed by Sebastian.
Even true.
Alright, Thomas, can we say at this point that Mal has come back in? Because I feel like enough time has elapsed.
So Mal, you walk in. You've had a brief but very good conversation with Oli. You
Okay.
feel like you know exactly where he's coming from.
Okay.
And in fact, Oli walks in with you as well. You both walk back in, and you both see Hugh holding what must be the most cursed blade in all of existence. and really, this can only be a good thing, right? Because it's Hugh.
Yeah, clearly. Mal just raises her eyebrows and just kind of.
Yeah. You see from the other side of the room, Stella seems to be having a panic attack. And Lolo the mouse seems to be talking with the rest of the group, and she says, "That's great. One sale successful." And she turns to Dizzy Reed and she says, "So, my friend, who is obviously not from the Plater Train Consortium, any ideas?"
I beg to differ. And I ask if do you either have a belt of dwarven kind or a cloak of displacement?
Belt of dwarven kind.
He says,
That's appropriation.
"Unfortunately, I just sold my last cloak of displacement, but I definitely have the belt."
Is Reed gonna grow a beard?
Let's see.
Yep. Let me see this belt.
Okay, so she runs over to the arms and armor section, like where she is. She runs to the back of it and she starts to mess around. And give me 1 second.
All right, sure.
I'll bring this up real quick.
I forgot that Jameson was a dwarf.
Yeah.
I'm triggered. Yeah. I'm triggered right now.
All right, so she grabs a belt of dwarven kind, and it looks to be pretty big. And she hustles over to you. It's pretty big. It's very circular in the back. It's gold. It would wrap around your waist, or it could be held aloft in the air like some kind of victory. It's got like gold and platinum filigree in it. It's got like what looks to be maybe Roman numerals, although you don't really know what year they stand for. You know.
The dwarf calendar.
Yeah. It says like VVVVE, and it's obviously very dwarvish in nature. And she hands it to you, and she says, "This could be yours, but we do need to have a little bit of a conversation because while I do have one of these, and I'm excited to sell it to you, it's not exactly on the same price scale as what you're trading me."
You're right, because my thing is worth more than your thing. You should throw something in, and I'm gonna roll persuasion.
Okay, and she's gonna roll insight. Hold on. Let me grab some dice.
Man.
I have a die.
The last two was getting shit.
Oh man, hold on. Let me know what can you guys see? Can you guys see what I rolled? I don't know if you can see that.
That looks like a 20 to me, baby.
Oh.
So Lola snaps her fingers, and she seems very shrewd, and she says, "Look, Dizzy Reed, let me break it down to you very simply. You're giving me an uncommon item, and I'm giving you a rare item. And this thing needs a little grease in the wheels to complete the deal. Do you have any gold? Do you have any other smaller items that you're also willing to part with?
Now, I would like to step up and just kind of, gesture myself and say, excuse me, ma'am, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I'm in fact a dwarf, and I know that these belts of dwarven kind, they're quite common. I don't believe that they're worth much more than what he's trying to give you, and I'd like to roll insight.
Okay.
I know the value.
Okay. Do you want to? So insight is when you're like trying to determine her motives or like.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Do I have to persuade?
Yeah. Go ahead and persuade.
All right. Good luck, Joseph.
Do it.
All right.
Oh shit!
There it goes.
Okay, so a 13. Okay, so she says,
Wait,
well.
Oh God! Wait, what? Stop.
What are you doing, rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not supposed to be rolling. Oh, I thought he was helping me on my roll.
Oh, you already rolled.
Well,
never mind. He was kind of rolling.
Maybe you helped him with his roll
to join the conversation, and Lolo turns to the dwarf and she says, "Well, if you have any interest in maybe a belt of halfling kind, maybe we could set up some kind of interesting. I don't know. We definitely have co-ed dressing rooms if the two of you are interested in that sort of thing.
Oh shit!
But no, I'm pretty sure I understand the worth of a magical item, given that it's my profession in the greatest city of the world, and I'm pretty confident in my ability to make a deal. So let's just remain amicable and keep it at that.
I suppose that's fair, and I appreciate your honesty.
Absolutely. Right. And sir, is there anything I can interest you in? Maybe a nice tome or a wand?
Oh, I'm quite all right. These gauntlets, I gesture bravely at her and say, they serve me quite well, thank you.
Wow. How about I make a trade and take your gauntlets and give you maybe any rare item that you're uncommon maybe that you're looking for? I don't know.
Now here's the thing. These gauntlets, I hold on loosely, but I don't let go.
Damn.
So she smiles and she's like, "Oh, I understand. It's a very good motto. It seems very true.
It's my 38th special word for the record.
38th verse. Maybe she knows some other words of power. Fucking Saint Patty.
Saint Patty.
I don't know any special 38 words, but I have been to the 36th chamber.
Yeah.
She rubs her nose. And she puts up an arcane symbol in the air.
Nothing to fuck with.
and she turns to the call and she very politely explains it's for the children. And
ooh, for the children! I love the children.
Yeah. So does this guy.
I'm a priest. I love the children. I mean, nothing.
So
not priest. Sorry.
She turns back to Dizzy and she says, "So Dizzy, is there anything else? Maybe you want to throw in maybe 500 gold?"
Wow, shit, that's steep as shit.
We have like no money.
We don't have that much, and I don't want. I feel bad for blowing party gold on just something for me.
To make you look like a dwarf.
Maybe
it'll
you should
grow
come
bigger
back
and it'll jack my con up too, which is pretty useful.
And you can speak Dwarvish. Which you could already do with your calendar head.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that you just sold her your stuff and you're not going to buy a new thing, though.
Well, I haven't sold it to her. We're just talking about trades here. So oh shit. What can I?
I'd like to ask how much you need. I'm a generous soul. I'd like to ask how much you need. I have no need for gold. I find joy in knowledge.
Yeah, I've 70-something gold. That's my personal gold. But I have this, and I pull out a carved wooden octopus. And I try to. What the fuck?
You've had that in your pants this whole time?
I've had this in my pants the whole time. Yeah, it's in my inventory. See, this carved wooden octopus is an ancient artifact, and I make up some bullshit. And I try to, deceive her and lie to her about it being an ancient artifact of some ancient civilization somewhere.
What is it really? It's just a wooden octopus.
Yeah, even if it was ancient,
apparently, no, it's not.
Even if it was,
but
well,
it says carved wooden octopus.
Who would give a fuck about a wooden octopus?
Clearly, the 8 arms represent the 8.
Noble truths.
Deadly sins.
Yeah. And then, but I will also throw in a spell scroll of unknown origin and a small bag of incense.
Dizzy Reed, you're just pulling stuff out of your pockets at this point. What have I got? I got this incense.
I got a penny and some.
Do you remember? Do you remember where you got that spell scroll?
It was early on. It was actually around the time I got the Helm of Comprehension comprehend shit.
Yes, it's a great. I know which one it is. Okay. She explains. I can take the scroll for maybe 100, 125 if I'm being really generous. I'm not really interested in the tiny octopus.
But it's got so much
I'll take the tiny octopus. I say that.
Dizzy Reed, you look like you have some pretty powerful friends. You seem to be a pretty accomplished bard in your own name. How about this? How about we make a deal?
I play you a song for 500 gold.
Instead of the 500 gold, why don't you do me a favor? And she said, I really feel like this is something that you can accomplish. Oli steps up behind you and he puts his hand on your shoulder, Dizzy, and he's like, yeah, see, look, it's already happening. And Lolo's eyes kind of glaze over as she begins to tell a little bit of a story to you, Dizzy. She says, and it's not just Dizzy because Father Jameson is also now in this conversation. And she turns to the two of you and she says, if you've ever heard of the Everforge clan of dwarves once held a place of honor and prestige, and their weaponsmiths were unrivaled in dwarven lands. The clan welcomed all visitors to its ancestral halls, but no one was allowed into the Great Forge, which was magically linked into the elemental plane of fire. But decades ago, the Mifrit, who may or may not have been from Sigil, found the bridge between the worlds. The fire creatures sprang from the Great Forge, and they slaughtered the Everforge clan, burning the dwarf's bones to ashes. The only survivor was Pola Everforge, the matriarch. She severed the link to the plane of fire and dismissed the rampaging Ifrit, but the damage had been done. Well, Pola now lives here in Sigil, and she recently explained to me that a human sage named Spensius, who serves a flame dragon, Igbalnium, has decided to rekindle the Great Forge. He believes that a dragon who is bathed in the elemental fire of the forge will become invincible. And so now the Everforge clan seems to have a dragon problem. You see, they are just now returning interest to the Great Forge, and they could bring it back to prosperity, but time is fairly of the essence. And if you would just scout the lost halls of Everforge, and maybe report back the state of the forge and of Spensius and the dragon Igbalnium. And if you can do this for me, then not only will I waive the 500 gold, but we can go ahead and do the deal right now. And I'll take your colander, and you can have the belt. And sometime in the next few days, just swear to me, promise you'll take the job.
Swear to me.
and I'll tell you where the portal is, and you can go through, and you can just report on it, and you can bring your friends. How about that?
Let me confer with my associates and talk to like. Hey guys, you mind if we, run this little errand at some point in the next couple of days?
I knew the Everforged as well. They were strong until a divide opened between them, trying to decide whether it was going to be charcoal or propane.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't want to deal with any dragons. Princesses and dragons are typically a no-go. You don't want to know what they do to them.
Yeah, the rest of it. Well, no, actually, that's not true. We definitely killed a green dragon. That absolutely happened.
Oh, you killed a green dragon! Wow, you could definitely do this. And from behind you guys, another voice pops up and he says, "Yeah, this sounds like a good job. You should take it." And
oh my god, who is that?
And it's Crag Bearson.
Yes.
That's how
it's yeah. He's standing with you guys as if he's one of the group, and he's like, "This job sounds pretty easy, and you get 500 gold up front." Yeah, sounds like a no-brainer to me.
I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna roll whatever I need to see if he's like what his motive is for help.
You want to roll an insight check on him?
Yeah, roll an insight.
Okay.
He seems to be a well-seasoned adventurer. I mean, from the way you see him alone,
he's fucking bear coat. He's awesome.
He's a space marine.
He definitely seems excited about the prospect of a forge and a dragon, and he genuinely thinks this is a good job, and he thinks you should take it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
you also notice he has spiked knee pads. This guy, Crag. He's got spikes coming out his leather knee pads.
This guy,
badass.
You don't feel like this is you don't feel like this is the kind of guy who would employ subterfuge. Like he's honest and upfront about things, and he thinks it's a good job, and he has spikes on his knees.
That's all. And if a guy has spikes on his knees, then he knows what's up. Clearly,
for real.
Fucking remember that.
Well, he seems like.
I never shy away from a chance to help fellow dwarf.
So wait, why would we do this? What are we getting in return?
500 gold, princess. Keep up.
Okay. To scout out a dragon lair.
It's a forge, and yeah, there's a dragon there, reportedly, but maybe it's not even there. Maybe you go and the dragon's not even there, and you come back and you tell me that, and I look you in the eye, and I see you're telling the truth, and I just say, okay.
Question: if we see
even I think this is a bad idea.
What do we have to do? We're just gonna run if we see a dragon. I'm just gonna let you know that right now.
Okay. I definitely know that if there is a dragon there and it does need slaying, I'm sure that the Everforged dwarves would be eternally grateful if you slayed the dragon and restored the lost halls of Everforge to its rightful, wonderful place. And I'm sure there are, non-monetary benefits to making friends with legendary dwarves.
My favorite.
Listen, it's not every day that you come across a legendary lost forge.
She's right,
I say we do it. All right, let's do it. I'll do it.
Oh no.
She says, okay, meet me here tomorrow morning, and I'll give you the port key, and I'll tell you where the portal is.
Sure.
And it's a deal.
Sounds
and
good.
She takes your colander, and she hands you the belt, and she shakes your hand, and the deal is done.
Cool.
All right.
We actually have to do that. Remember that, Dizzy Reed. We can't skip out on that.
Yeah, you don't want to make enemies with more than one shopkeep.
Yeah, we've already done that.
I forgot we did that. All right,
man.
All right, so we're gonna scout out Everforge.
Yeah. All right.
When I get a chance, I'd like to trade.
Yeah. Sure. Lolo seems totally finished with Dizzy Reed. She seems like if she can get one customer to buy one thing one at a time, she's gonna be super happy.
Okay.
And so she turns to the next person. And unfortunately, that actually doesn't happen to be Mal. She turns to her car.
That's fine.
And she says, all right, Dragon Man, what are you looking for?
All right. Is Ollie standing around?
Yeah, Ollie's there.
All right. I look at Ollie with a slight, just a little bit of disdain in my eyes, and I grab one of his hands and I hold him up in the air. It's like, see this little metal contraption thing this guy's got around these things that help you cheat when you punch people? I want some of these.
That help you cheat? Wait, Ricard, are you still sad about how he defeated you in a contest of strength?
So Oli laughs and he kind of he's patting you on the back as he seems to love to do, and he says, yeah, this is actually where I got mine. And Lolo runs back behind the counter and around, and she takes out a chest, and she brings the chest toward you, and she opens it up, and she says, you want to buy or you want to trade? And inside you see 8, actually there are 8 spots for knuckles. One of them is gone, so there are 7 pairs of knuckles. They're of different colors, like different metal, but they all seem to be of the same caliber, like strength and enchantment, And she says, well, which one catches your eye? And it looks like they deal different kinds of elemental damage.
I
see. So there's a fire and ice. There's a lightning. The only one that's not there. The only one that's not available is cold.
Classic. Always the cold. I look at them all and I say, well, while you got all those things out, let me tell you what else I'm looking for. And I put a normal ass. Well, I take off my bracers and I take off my cape and I say, like, I got these particular bracers and this particular cape right here. They seem to increase my armor qualities. I don't know how to say that out in game, but I'm looking for something that can substitute these two and give me equivalent protection.
Oh, very, very smart. So you want to keep the same protection, but you want to consolidate the amount of stuff you have to wear into combat. That's really smart.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
efficient.
Well, tell you what, I don't have anything like that. But I do have this. And she puts her thumb, like her pinkies, in her mouth and whistles really loudly, and it sort of gets the attention of everybody in the room very briefly. And she shouts, Spellguard, where are you? And you're rumbling coming from upstairs as you see a shield fly through the air and fly towards Lolo and halt in front of her, and it begins to very slowly rotate around her. And she says, now, Spellguard is pretty expensive, but, I mean, obviously you see the perks of having a shield without having to hold a shield, right? I mean, seems pretty self-explanatory.
Oh, cool. Fuck. I say. Yeah. I see that. Well,
I see you, baby.
How much would if I traded both of these items, what else would I need, or how close would that get me towards the purchase of this fine, mysteriously magical shield?
I'd say if you threw in the gauntlets and you threw in the cape, maybe you're 2,000 gold short.
How about this wooden octopus that I? 2,000 gold short. Okay.
Yeah, you know, maybe, and that's being very generous. But I'm trying to make friends.
Yeah, yeah, we're very friendly, you and I.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you would say we're friends, right?
Quite.
Right.
Quite.
And okay. Okay, well, listen up, friend. Have you ever heard of Jeneline Geyer?
I'm not familiar with ketamine guy. Ketamine guy?
Okay, I gotta tell you. And she recalls she's looking at you right in the eyes, and she starts to talk, and like her eyes glaze over, and she starts to recite a quest, and she says, Jeneline Geyer was a wealthy adventurer before he settled down in Sigil as a clockmaker, and he commissioned a great clock tower, and as construction neared its end, the clockmaker grew deathly ill, but she survived long enough to hear the clock strike peak for the first time, and she died happy. And the tower would have stood as her monument, but the Clockworkers Guild suspects the place might be an implement for unsanctioned summonings, and they've shut it down. And the inspectors who went inside to shut it down, they were crushed between the gears of the clock, and they died. You know how these things seem to happen. And most Burks reason that it's the clockmaker's ghost that has taken vengeance, and everyone's abandoned the tower for fear of suffering her wrath. But Jeneline was my friend, and she was a patron of mine, and she bought all sorts of magical items while she was still an adventurer. And if you and your friends would investigate the clock tower for me, and just make sure that my good friend Jeneline Geyer's spirit isn't wandering with unrest, then when you got back, we could probably make a very favorable deal for this shield.
I see. Yeah, that sounds quite good. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll look into that because it's exciting, and I want to help this ketamine guy. You know.
Well, she's dead.
Right.
But she might be a ghost. Yeah, if you can just confirm for me that her soul is at rest, and maybe if you can convince everybody that the Great Clock Tower isn't anything to fear, then I know that the memory of my friend will be honored, and you and I can make an even better deal. And
what if I do a triple backflip? I can do a triple backflip for you right now.
Oh my god!
Wait, triple?
Try it.
You just get a discount. You want to just do a triple backflip?
My god!
Roll athletics.
You got to roll, or would it be acrobatics?
You can roll them both.
Okay.
Oh shit!
I can roll them both.
That's pretty good.
19.
Pretty sure he would prefer athletics.
Yeah.
Because it's a better strength mod.
Touche.
Wow. So you do a full backflip in your armor.
Just the one?
Just the one. Planted from the ground. You had so much momentum. If only you had a magical item that assisted in backflips.
Damn.
Like perhaps a set of boots that would allow you to stride and or spring.
Now I looked at those.
Well, yeah, boots that a Dragonborn might be wearing at this very moment.
That's just a taster to show you that a triple backflip is in my wheelhouse. I don't just give these things away without a better, something in writing. I adhere fully to
you have to have a written contract.
The law of the land, and I'm not just. I could injure myself. There's got to be liability involved, but it's perfect. It's a possibility, as you can see.
He's right.
It absolutely is, and I was so impressed with that backflip. I will take 10 gold off any item you purchase in the store today.
Fuck
10 gold.
That's pretty freaking rad, man.
That's actually a lot of money.
That's 100 silver.
And look at his age.
Just imagine how much copper it is.
And you are at least 250 years old.
Yeah. 2 backflips.
What he did 1 backflip.
Well, I fucking saw 2.
Well, I friend, I take you at your word. And so she turns to the tiefling, and she says, my friend, walk with me. And she takes your hand, and she walks you over to where the books and the wands are, Mal. Okay. And you see, it's a lot quieter. Anybody who wants to join and follow along to the books and wands, obviously you guys can do whatever you want. So she leads Mal over to the books and wands. It's a humongous library. It's where the fire. Okay, it's where the fireplace is, and there are actually only 2 people in here right now. One of them is a tiefling wizard, short horns resembling cat ears. And she's wearing leathers. Her cat ear horns and her white and purplish coloring makes her look kind of like here. It's she wears leathers, and she wears a red cape that is stitched with gold dwarven runes along the edge, and she twirls in her hand like some expert Byron Tyler pen spinner.
Good analogy.
What resembles a frog on a stick. It's definitely a wand of some kind, but it just looks like a frog tied to a stick. And then so she's standing there near the books, and then you see seated by the fireplace is a black dragonborn sorcerer.
Wow.
He is wearing deep blue and red robes.
Whoa! Why is he colored black?
And that's the color of his scales. And it comes from the streets.
He was born that way.
Black dragonborn is most ghetto.
No lives matter, bro.
One hand of his seems to be glowing glowing like blue fire. Mindlessly, as in the other hand he holds a book, and he's just very diligently and studiously reading. Lolo walks you between these two, and she shows you she says, "Excuse me, Keeks, sorry, please, excuse me. Look, my new friend Mal, at all these wonderful wands," and she shows you like let's see, I actually predetermined which ones they had. Give me 1 second.
Craig Bearson.
Would you say that Risk looks cool?
Yeah. Risk looks cool as shit. Risk looks like Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z.
Well, I would like to use thaumaturgy to make his flames flicker and look really limp and weak.
Oh, you did the cleric thaumaturgy thing. Look at you.
Yeah. So
because I can just kind of tell this guy's kind of a show off, and I don't like that.
Yeah. So the fire begins to sort of die on his hand until it goes out, and he looks at it, and you hear a very gruff like, "Ugh, what is this?" And he starts shaking his hand, and he's just waiting, for the fire to come.
He can have it back. I just wanted to, shake his confidence a little.
The third time, he activates his hand, and the flame, like, erupts from his hand and spills, like, in multiple directions. And some of it gets on, like, the carpet, and some of it gets on, like, some of it almost gets on Keeks, who, like, moves her cape, like, Phantom of the Opera, and, like, blocks the fire with her cape. And there seems to be a little bit of a smell of brimstone as the fire the blue fire hits her red cape, and Risk seems adequately peeved, and he holds the flame in his hand brighter for a moment and looks around the room and makes sure that everyone's seeing how large the flame coming from his hand is, and then he puts it away and he goes back to reading as if he doesn't know that everyone's staring at him right now, and he seems pretty proud of himself.
As we're walking by Keeks, I want to stop and I want to say, "Pardon me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but what is that wand that you have in your hand?"
And she says, "Oh, this it's and she uses it and she shoots it to Risk, and Risk becomes a chicken. And Risk clucks around in the chair for a little while, and she says, you know, it's polymorph, 7 charges, 1 + 4 a day. You know, your standard issue polymorph wand. I don't think I've ever met you before. The name is Keeks, and she sort of salutes you.
The name's Mal. I give her sort of a bow.
Yeah. Obviously, you're new to Sigil, or I think you would have. I think I would have met you before. I don't know how to tell you this. I'm a pretty big deal when it comes to our. Well, she leans in and she goes, "Well, of our kind, you know, I'm a pretty big deal."
She's a big deal.
She waits for you to recognize her.
I'm very new.
Okay, that's fine. When you get to the gymnasium and you see the statue that looks just like me, just know it's me.
I'll remember that.
And then, yeah, and so she smiles and she seems very proud of herself. The chicken explodes in blue fire, and Risk lands on the ground. And he walks up to Keith and he says, "Given any fair fight, I definitely would have had a counterspell prepared. There's no way that wand would have gotten the better of me. I'm not even interested in the fight tonight anymore. Like, look, I'm going home." And he storms out, and Keeks very quickly mutters "Mal, it was really nice to meet you. We'll talk again sometime. I'll see you later." And she follows Risk, and she begins to sort of acquiesce to his temper tantrum.
Typically arrogant dragonborn, just like the dragonborn I know.
And explain to him, Risk, I know, given any fair fight, you definitely would have seen that coming, and we could really use our sorcerer.
Sure,
So I know you don't want to. I mean, the reputation is at stake, and they walk out, and she's desperately trying to get his attention or whatever. You get him, get him. Yeah. Give me one second.
For a second. It seems the
from across the room
is indicative of, yeah, yep.
What did you say? What were you trying to say?
I didn't say anything. I just said I'm looking at you from across the room.
Something about relationships being indicative of something. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
Yeah, you did.
Of the clear superiority of tieflings? I think so. Come on.
Right, so you see, I've got the wands coming up in a second. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I already know what wand I want to ask for.
You see 7 wands in front of you.
Okay.
One looks like a flame, that like a blue flame, kind of like Risk's blue flame that he had in his hand. That is like at the tip of a wand that has concentric rings around it. One of them looks like a double helix that is like grows larger and larger until it gets to the tip, which is like just kind of a knob. There's another wand that looks like it has like almost like chewy candies, like inserted along a golden wand, that when it gets to the tip, the chewy candies are like on little golden rods. And you also see a black wand that has a silver spider at the tip, and it has a purple gemstone that the spider is holding on to with all 8 legs. Lolo says, you know, we've got wonders, we've got webs, we've got magic missiles, we've got anything that a witch or a warlock could ask for. What can I sell you today?
Sorry, so there was a wand that was like a double helix wand. There was a wand that looked like it was made of chewy candy. There was a black spider wand, and there was what else?
There was a one that looks like it's shaped like lightning bolts, almost like liquid lightning that's forming and like wrestling with itself along the wand. And then the chewy candy, the spider that can be a double helix, the flame, and the lightning. But there's she insists there are plenty of others.
All right. Let's see. That spider wand. It looks like a wand.
So she picks it up. She picks it up and she hands it to you. And she says, "Check it out. Check it out. It's a wand of web.
I already got one of those.
Anybody who doesn't know what they're doing could find themselves, stuck to a floor or a wall.
That's very true.
The majority of a fight.
I understand the efficacy of a wand such as that, but my friend the Bard already has one of those, or something similar. I'll put it that way.
And he insists on having it. He could have easily traded it to me.
Well, we all make mistakes. What about that wand with the spiraling sort of double helix on it?
Okay, so she grabs it. She puts the wand of web back, and she grabs this wand, and it seems to be made of some sort of like ashen wood, and it's very smoothly carved. And she explains, now, this isn't a very powerful wand. It only has 3 charges, and it only regains 1 a day. But it is a wand of secrets, and it can show you secret doors or traps. It's very good for an adventurer who is trying to, not miss anything on her standard Saturday morning dungeon crawl.
Yeah,
that might be useful. Let me see.
I accept your terms.
What's the what about the one that looks like it's made of candy?
Okay. So she puts that back and she says, of course. Now, this one is quite expensive. She takes it out and she doesn't hand this one to you, but she very, politely examines it and rolls it over in her hands, and she says, now, this is a wand of wonder, and it could do almost anything.
You know what
Sounds
that
expensive.
means.
Anything at all?
Yeah. She says, let's try it out. And she takes the wand of wonder and she points it at Rod, and she uses it.
Okay.
She says, what better reason to have an orc on the payroll? 91.
Oh God.
Jesus.
A colorful burst of shimmering light extends from Lolo in a 30-foot radius. Rod and each creature in a 30-foot radius of
including
Lolo,
me, I guess,
including you and anyone else who's around, must succeed on a DC something Constitution saving throw.
Oh my God. Okay, so I crit fail.
Okay.
Oh no.
So you are immediately blinded.
Oh shit.
And so is Jameson.
You are both immediately blinded.
Fuck.
Damn.
And,
Well, you guys clearly cannot see why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah. Wow. That's a 1 and an 18. Okay.
It works.
So there's a loud pop and a brilliant light, and all of a sudden Mal and Jameson cannot see.
That dark vision.
What have you done to me?
She explains, no, just give it a minute, take a deep breath, calm down. You hear her rummaging around as she puts the wand back, and you hear Rod complaining miserably, oh, I can't believe you did it to me. Oh,
I'm used to being able to see in the dark, Lolo.
Yeah.
This is not
gradually, after a minute passes, Jameson and Mal both get their sight back. And she says, I'm so sorry about that. Tell you what, anything
Seems
you buy
to work.
today, I will take 10 gold off of it.
Very kind of you. Very thoughtful. I'll think about that wand of wonder.
Now, if I don't buy anything, can I just have 20 gold?
Absolutely not.
Ooh.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's right. He's old. He's been around for a long time, and he.
All right.
You don't know if you don't ask.
I am interested in the Wand of Secrets, but let me ask you one question before we start haggling. You don't have any amulets here, do you?
Amulet. Sure, we have all sorts of amulets. What is there anything in particular that you might be looking for?
What if there was an amulet that allowed me to evade some sort of detection. Would you have anything like that?
I have this, and she runs over to a wall, and she grabs a medallion, and she comes back, and she says, "Now this is a little bit of an interesting creature. This is the unbroken medallion of Revelation," and she explains, "Not only does it give you extra paranormal abilities when it comes to swimming, but it also makes you able to cast Detect Magic
Missile."
And she sort of like smiles.
Yeah, that's very interesting, Lolo. I think we'll stick with the wands.
Or what about this? And she runs away, and she comes back, and she says, "Now this is the Master's Pendant of Arborea, and on the plane of Arborea, if you wear the pendant, you have advantage on saving throws against intense yearning."
Intense yearning.
Can I roll Arcana to see if I know anything about Arborea and what the fuck she's talking about?
Okay,
Not a character I totally do. But
go ahead.
Okay. 16.
Okay. Yeah, you know Arborea, or the Olympian glades of Arborea, are an outer plane that's essentially Olympus. It's a plane at peace, dominated by forests and wildflowers and glades and glen, and it's when you are in Olympus, it's kind of like the Feywild, and that weird shit happens. You know, you often encounter the actual Greek pantheon. There's a lot of weird stuff that can go on, and you do remember very slightly hearing about an effect called the yearning, where anyone visiting Arborea will be tempted by Arborea itself to accomplish great feats at their own peril. And so, if you wore this in Arborea, you would have advantage on saving throws against the intense yearning.
Okay. Interesting, but not for me.
No, absolutely not.
Nope.
extremely niche. In effect, to suggest that if there was something you were specifically looking for, you might be able to find it here. But she doesn't seem to have any way to protect you from scrying or non-detection.
Okay.
I'll buy it.
You want it?
You'll buy it?
I don't want it.
Alright, so I got the wand under the trap wand. There's the light. So I assume the wand with the lightning bolt atop it, or that sort of curls around it, that would be a wand of lightning bolts.
She grabs it and she brings it to you, and she says, "Well, looks can be deceiving. It is a wand of lightning bolts."
What a surprise.
I see.
What does
okay.
it do?
What does that do?
It holds 7 charges, and it shoots lightning.
Well.
Oh.
And then the last one I think was the flame wand.
Oh, a wand of magic missiles.
Ah. Magic missiles.
It's perfect.
My favorite, man.
What does that
Wow.
do?
It's actually pretty strong.
And she says, "Anything I can interest you in? I know you were looking pretty long at the Wand of Secrets."
I was indeed.
She says, "I could part with it for 1,200 gold, and that's a steal."
And 3 friends.
And remember, you got your discount.
Well, there's either 1,200 gold or there's this. And Mal pulls out the staff of defense.
Wooden octopus.
And she pulls up the staff of defense and she says, "This staff comes from the northern lands of Faerun and was wielded by a very powerful wizard, Yarno Albrecht, otherwise known as Glassstaff. It creates an impenetrable defense for wizards who wield it, and you can see, and I sort of balance in my hands, I say, it has a fine honed edge, and a balance that cannot be beaten for its price."
Wow!
So,
Got a ShamWow to go with that?
yeah, you know
Okay.
it. Do I need to roll, or...
Buy now.
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
I want to roll like a persuasion to try to
Go ahead.
basically persuade her to.
Charisma caster's OP.
I'm probably gonna roll like shit. Yeah.
No, you did fine. So she says, "It sounds like a deal to me," and she extends her hand and hands you the wand of secrets, and she takes from you the staff of defense.
All right. Cool.
All right. So she turns to the group and she begins to eye you all, and she says, "Who has not made a deal?" And she turns. And she's waiting.
Do we have to make a deal?
She says,
no.
says,
we can't leave this place.
"Beautiful, regal princess, what is it that you have brought Mama Lolo? Bring it here."
Well, I don't really have anything.
Towards you with her arms extended like this.
Oh, jeez. I'm fine. I'm just window shopping. I'm not really
And
too
she says, no, I know what you want. And she takes you by the hand, and she leads you upstairs.
Okay.
Makeover.
I thought there was going to be, like, butt stuff involved.
No, Lolo brings you upstairs to the potions, poisons, and others. And, you walk upstairs. It seems to be like maybe a little bit of it is a living quarters that's sectioned off with like a small kitchen and like an open like hammock near the window. But there is a huge display of potions on one wall, and on the opposite wall there is a huge display of poisons. And then in the middle wall, the far wall, there seems to be some sort of a suspicious gradient, where on the far left side, things are probably 99% potion. And as you go down, it gets more and more poison.
Okay.
And so you see there are two people up here shopping, browsing. I'll show you them now real quick.
I like meeting new people.
Yeah, one of them is browsing the potions, and it is a drow. Her hand also on fire. The drow holds in one hand a pointed witch hat and wears a purple robe with webs. It's an androgynous dark elf. She has a broom strapped to her back. You can see she's browsing some sort of potion in the picture. And then on the other side of the room, there is this man. He wears scholar's robes. He has very faintly elven features. Like he is less than half an elf. He wears a robe cut in the fashion of an academic and scholar. But it looks obviously to an adventurer's eye to be enchanted displacer beast hide.
Oh, okay.
He's browsing the poisons. He seems to be standing just a few inches away from where you initially thought he was standing.
Right. Okay.
And so Lolo guides you between these two, and she brings you to basically the halfway point in the wall, where everything to the left of you is more potion, and everything to the right of you is more poison. Okay. And she brings you up to a small filter.
Injected with
poison. Let me see if I can find you an image. She shows you
pictures.
This.
Ooh.
And she explains, "Princess, I have a deal you cannot possibly pass."
Okay.
This, as she grabs it and uncorks it and lifts it towards your nose, she says, "This is a filter of love."
Oh.
And the next time, if you were to drink this of your own free will, and then the next time you see someone after drinking it, you would immediately find them to be oh so charming.
No.
Okay.
Smell the potion. It smells like home. It smells like the fields. It smells like placid lake. It smells like happiness and joy. and the approval of a stern, warlike father. I mean, it's just everything you ever wanted.
Okay.
The rose-hued effervescent liquid contains one tiny bubble that's shaped like a heart.
Oh, cool.
She says, surely a princess of your intelligence and wisdom can think of a use for a love potion.
Well, I guess you have one of those deal things you like to make, right? I don't have much money. I don't have cool gadgets.
Yeah.
I assume you want something done.
Immediately her eyes glare over, and she explains, on one of the infinite branches of Yggdrasil, the world tree,
oh man,
lives a vicious lindworm attacking a colony of Ratatosk, killing many and driving the rest from their home. You see, and she leans in and she says, an icy dragon has recruited the inhabitants of the nearby branches of the world tree, plotting to expand its defense. It also captured the leader of a small group of these Ratatosk, forcing them and the Raven folk to serve it. But a portal has recently opened between the planar home and the village of Nargenstal, allowing them to escape. So they traveled from Nargenstal to Sigil, and they've asked for help. And if you... She hands you the potion.
Right.
If you would ever be interested in saving these poor Ratatosk from this icy dragon, then I'm sure you could be rewarded. And I would complete my job, which was to find somebody to save them, and I'll get a referral bonus, and then I can give you a discount.
Yeah.
And you begin to see how this where all these jobs come from for her.
Right.
She seems to have plenty to do in town.
Right. How about I'll keep this icy dragon in mind, and if I do ever find myself slaying, like, what is this, the third dragon we're supposed to kill? If we slay this one,
got a lot of dragons.
I promise I'll come back. But I feel like we're biting off more than we can chew.
Well, it's not just an ice dragon; it's also a vicious lindworm. I mean, there's plenty to do. Anyways, how about this? I'll let you have the filter of love, and when it works for you, like a charm, which it should, because I made it, and I am an expert at all things charm, then you come to me and we'll find you a job to do. I see that you don't really like dragons.
Yeah, that's a big no-go for me right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll find something for you to do, princess. And she hands you the filter of love.
Ooh.
And
do I have to walk out with this? Maybe I can come back and earn it when I'm like,
just take it and carry it with you, and when it helps you one day, just remember Lolo, okay? Yeah, all right. And she escorts you back downstairs.
You've earned it.
As you guys reach downstairs, you see a man standing in the center of the room, and I'll present him right now.
Make him present.
He is.
Oh my God! That guy's
obviously.
What a strapping young man.
The first thing you notice about this man
is that he's an undead.
Oh no! It's distinguished attire.
Oh.
He wears what looks to be a cravat. He's got his collar popped. He has very nice legal robes on. The next thing you notice about him is his monocle. After that would be the top hat. After that would be the mustache. After that would be the sideburns. Eventually, yes, you do notice that this man is obviously undead.
I'm so glad Griff isn't here right now.
He's undead American. Is
he?
the term.
That's the last thing we notice about him, is that he's not actually alive.
Yeah, he carries an umbrella, a parasol, that he wraps on the ground, and he says, does anybody here speak Orcish?
One of us used to speak everything.
Dizzy Reed did.
Yeah, he did. So he begins to talk in Orcish, and it gets the attention of God, but then it also gets the attention of a few different people, and in the building, the two upstairs, Erevan, Melianodal, and
I'm quite interested.
Prince Bowie Ramon. By the way, when Prince Bowie Ramon walks downstairs, you can't really tell if the drow is a man or a woman.
I think he said it's totally androgynous, right?
Yeah. It sort of seems to. Sometimes it looks more like a woman. Sometimes it looks more like more like a man. But Prince and Erevan walk downstairs, and Crag Bearson, who's just been hanging out with Hugh, walks over as well. And the undead guy takes off his top hat, revealing a very vicious bald spot and a terrible comb over. Obviously, his hair doesn't grow anymore because he's fucking dead. And he smiles and he bows to you all, and he explains in common. He says, "We must be on our way. We have an appointment." And the other three walk out the door, and he sort of twirls his parasol, and he checks his watch. He takes out a pocket watch, and it is it's oddly familiar to at least Mal. It seems to be of the same sort of make that Brother Erite had, and he says, "If I'm not mistaken, we need to hurry or we'll be late." And he walks outside the door, and all of the named NPCs leave with him.
Including fucking Lolo?
No, not Lolo or Rod. Sorry.
Steal everything!
All of the people I have shown you from the tab that says "I'll be on my outcome" is, they all leave. They're all gone.
Well, guys, wait, are we still in the shop?
Yeah, you're still in the shop. Oli walks up to you all. He puts his arm around the princess, and he says, "Oh, you're not thinking about using that on any old cat, are you?" You're so beautiful.
Oh. Looks like this date rate job already works.
Oli, who were those people just now?
Oh, well, they're one of the gymnasium teams. In fact, they're actually the gymnasium team that has been hired by a pretty important faction, the Revolutionary League.
The Revolutionary League? That doesn't sound very revolutionary to me, just based off of title alone.
Let's see.
Keen observation.
Bibblethip hops up on the counter and explains, the Revolutionary believe that the status quo is built on lies and greed. They want to crush all of the other factions. They want to break them all down and rebuild Sigil with what's left. And that's the only real way to find the truth behind the mazes. And then he looks up, and you can tell he remembers almost nothing of what he just said.
Just repeating it back as he was talking.
Yeah. He says they're totally chaotic. They're essentially anarchists. I mean, they hang out with the Doom Guard. I mean, they're ridiculous. They have no headquarters. It's a testament. It's a testament to their ability as a gymnasium league that they became a faction specifically because of their gymnasium squad. And Oli interjects, and he says, "Yeah, I mean, nobody used to pay them any real attention until they won, and they actually beat us in the finals last season, and they asked for the ability to be their own faction, and what do you know it? The lady showed up, and she freaked everybody out, and she mazed a couple people, and before you knew it, they were their own faction."
Oh my God.
It goes to show you, man, if you follow me and you join my gymnasium squad, you make money, you make friends, and you peddle influence throughout the cage.
It sounds like
there's literally nothing to lose, and you can take me at my word, and we can just leave it there.
Don't you like die if you lose?
We're not gonna lose.
Yes.
We're good at fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ollie, how much money can we stand to gain from this shit? Because we're a bunch of poor ass bastards, and we need cash.
Language, please.
Well, the amateur league doesn't actually pay a whole lot. Each one of you would get 300 gold per fight won and 100 gold per fight lost. But as soon as you guys made it out of the amateurs, which I know you will, it'll over double, and you'll make 1,000 gold every win. And if you lose, then you won't even need gold anymore, and so it's a win-win.
Wait. Does that mean, that pro fights, you go until you die? That's also what it sounds like.
Yeah, you see a little bit of pain well up behind Oli's eyes.
It's so common in everyone.
And he responds, "Well, you either die or you concede." Yes.
So how many fights do we need to win to go pro?
Well, you need to win at least 5. And if there are more than 5 teams that have won 5, then there'll probably be some kind of sudden death. But really, that's never happened before. I really don't imagine a sudden death scenario ever really taking place.
I walk in between the line of
probably don't even need to worry about
Ollie and the Bard, and I face the Bard and I just say, "Look, die rich or get trying." Okay? And say, you want to live to be poor forever and not get shit? You want to do all these fucking quests for this mouse person over here, or do you just want to kill a bunch of shit and get the cash to do what you want?
I look him right in the eye and I say, "Do I look like I'm a person that's afraid of dying?"
I look him back in the face. I said, "I don't know. Do you look like a bitch?"
He doesn't look at me. I look at him.
I guess that settles it then.
He doesn't look at me.
You're not looking at me.
You're not looking at me. I'm looking at you, motherfucker.
All right. So
it looks like neither one of us are afraid to die.
If there's anything, if anybody wanted to ask Lolo or Rod any more questions or purchase anything else before we left, now's the time.
I did. I pull out the Holy Baku horn and say, "Can you tell me, is this worth anything at all?"
Okay, so she.
I bought this from a method called Seamus Xanthoxenus, if you know him.
I'm very well versed with Seamus Xanthoxenus.
It's an international.
Well, he hates us now.
Well, I hate him too.
Seamus emphysema.
That's right. His name
Self-important. I hate the guy. He's the worst, and you can do a lot better shopping here than as opposed to parts and pieces. Let me just say that first of all. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna bring something up real quick.
Okay.
Also, Thomas, I wanted to get any of the scrolls identified that I could.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. I have 1 scroll.
What? Joseph, ironically enough, your scroll is a scroll of identify. Daniel, do you remember when you got the scrolls?
One was from the
I saw the second
first dungeon that we did.
Okay.
Where fucking he died trying to, Jurassic World people. And then I have 3 with the word mosque in parentheses. Were we at a mosque?
Sounds unlikely, but maybe.
Mosque?
No, there's a guy
colorful
named Mosque, wasn't there? There's an enemy.
His name was Hammond Kost?
Oh, Hammond Kost, yeah.
The necromancer. He had scrolls on him.
Oh, yeah, I had a scroll from Haman Khan, which is something from Gundam, but, that's besides the point.
Okay.
So nobody understood what his name really was.
I'll look back through the books and find out what those scrolls were, Daniel, and I'll email it to you, okay?
also have some book thing called like Astral Duodecimo is what I have
We
written.
do. We all have books.
Yeah. You guys all have very rare books.
Yeah, I specified that in the first write-up, and I said the party definitely remembered we have these books and will totally bring them up in future
Yeah,
sessions.
the Byzantine commentary. I have it.
You definitely couldn't trade a rare book to someone who sells both books and weapons in exchange
Obviously not.
for weapons or armor or tools.
Look, I'm giving my book to
damn
Wim.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
we already walked out, didn't we? Son of a bitch.
absolutely did. Yeah.
Oh no.
There's no going back now.
What's stopping us from going back in?
Embarrassment.
Time. Yeah,
Also, I'm not
embarrassed
going
as
back
fuck.
in there.
I'm hyper embarrassed.
Oli is stopping you. Anyways, Jameson, what?
Before I leave, I'm straggling. I'd like to ask if there are any worthy charities in Sigil worth giving to. Should I have extra money from something?
You're such a good
Says
guy,
both.
Jameson.
Believe it or not, there is an orphanage on Crystal Dude Lane that is always looking for help.
Crystal Dude Lane.
Crystal Dude Lane.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Hey, there's this other charity called the Thunder League that's also always looking for.
Yes, Prakal's always looking for children to do his bidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
She explains, Jameson, the orphanage will be easy to find. It'll have all the orphans outside begging for food.
Ah, of course. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. Let me, I'm trying to bring up the horn again, but can't find it. Give me
Well,
one second.
it was on the Seamus Xanthosinus parts and pieces menu as like,
Yeah.
ask the price.
Yeah. I had some for it too, and I
think Wim was the one who like yelled out a price for it. He was like, "Hell,
well,
I don't think that's worth more than 1,000."
Well, I think when you guys evaluated it last time, you thought that it probably wasn't worth much at all.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then Wim actually did a private roll to see if he knew what it was worth. And he did, and I told it to him, and then he shouted something that was like almost completely unrelated. Like all I remember is like having told him something about the horn, and then what he said, I don't know how we got to it.
Right.
Classic Wim.
Yeah, classic.
So
Classic.
whimsical.
And so I used the fucking shitty version of Charm Person on Seamus Xanthosinus to get him to sell it to us at a low price, and now he hates us.
And that
could
definitely
happen to
won't.
anybody.
Yeah. So Lolo, when you bring up Seamus Xanthosinus and you bring up the horn, she explains, the name Seamus Xanthosinus hasn't always been associated with business. Lolo, always business. 100% business. Best business mouse all time.
She's my wife.
Best business mouse all time.
Seamus Xanthosinus. Initially, the Dust Mephite, stronger and tougher than most Mephites. He was created by a spellcaster from the Abyss to act as a messenger and a message from the Abyss.
Oh my god!
And when his creator stared at his new creation in the face, when the Cambion, its round golden eyes framed by sharply arched brows, hooked nose hanging down over a wide mouth, toyed with giving the Mephite a typically pompous name. Said, Seamus? No. Xanthus? No. Zenus? And the Mephite leapt forward and announced, I want all three. I deserve them. The longer the better. Seamus Xanthosinus. I deserve it. I deserve it.
Sounds like the Seamus Xanthosinus we know.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Classic.
Anyways, he's the worst, and if he sold that to you, you probably didn't get your money's worth. I would honestly just take it back.
Well, that might not be a possibility.
We bought it at a high price, and we're too embarrassed to take it back.
I'm so sorry. Next time, before you go to Seamus Xanthosinus, Slayer of Fiends, Merchant Most Excellent, Purveyor of Death, Proprietor of Parts and Pieces. Maybe next time, just come to Lolo, okay?
How does fucking Mephite get all these like cool titles? Like,
You know how somebody might? It's actually a very funny story. See,
What the fuck?
anyways, I could tell you a very long story about how he got all those names.
That's all right.
Maybe we'll save it for another day.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And she just says the horn. I would just honestly, I would return it. If you can't return it, maybe you're lucky to get 500 gold for it. I really don't know what sets it apart from.
Does it do anything?
Any other
Does it do anything?
Say again. Well, you could blow it.
What, like right now?
Blow it?
Okay, yeah, do it.
I'll blow it.
That's what she
I
said.
do it right now. Mal blows the Baku horn.
You blow the what? Immediately. We're just gonna resolve this in a strange, fast-forwarded manner. Immediately, everybody near you who fails their wisdom saving throws scatters. Like everyone in the building will say, except for all of you guys and Lolo and Rod, they scatter. Like the horn goes, and a tiny crack appears in the horn.
Oh no!
But everyone around you just fucking scatters. They just beat it and run out in all directions. People run out the door. They jump out windows. Rod immediately rushes to Lolo's side and whips out a huge halberd and stands in front of her and between her and everyone else. And he goes into a rage. And is just like standing there in front of Lolo. Everybody else freaks out. Oli fails his stave and hides under the desk. And a small crack forms in the holy Baku tusk. In fact, you might say if 2 more cracks formed in it, it would probably break.
Oh shit!
Well, now we know what it does.
Yeah, and don't blow it again, says Lolo. So she
someone
goes
say
outside.
Pazuzu?
John, you realize that's the 3rd time, right?
No.
I've been keeping count. There's audio record. Just saying. Anyway.
No.
So we exit the store.
Yeah. Give me a second, please.
To summon you know who.
Not important.
Not important at all.
It's all about. Well, it wasn't the 3rd time today, so.
I don't know how Thomas is keeping count, but I've definitely.
Anyways, Lolo opens the door to Lolo's, and she says, "Look, if there's anything else you need, then by all means. If you're having trouble finding it, I'll find it for you. If you're having trouble finding someone, I can probably find someone for you. And if there's anything you ever need to buy, please don't go to that Mephi or anyone else. And remember, do not." She looks at you all dead in the eye. She takes a moment to look at everyone, and she says, "Do not sell anything to any merchant for gold unless you get it checked with the PTC first. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Someone might not tell you. They'll buy it from you. You will both be mazed. Okay? Great. Thank you. All right, everybody, have a great time. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too as well, Lolo. Our friend Dizzy Reed here will take care of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And whoever was John, are you crying?
That's not me. I'm not saying anything. It's just what I always imagined he kind of looked like.
Yeah, that's not what he looks like at all, but okay, sure.
Not at all. But that's pretty good though. And I kind of talk in a voice kind of like that whenever he talks.
Yeah, that's true. I can't do his voice.
No, not like. Well, it's more like. Yeah. Just what you have to do is you have to imagine that for hundreds and hundreds of years you haven't been able to explore the multiverse. You've been trapped in one spot, and the only reason you've been trapped is this like uppity hick of a bard named Delon,
Let's stop talking about this lest he show up.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys leave, and Oli escorts you all down Scholar Row, which is just south of Rook Street, and you guys head past Scholar Row. You're almost to Crystal Dew Lane, but you take a turn in the other direction, and you head through Sandstone Row. You see a lot of well, it kind of starts to look like slums. The Sandstone Row, it has really very well paved streets, but they're starting to get crowded. They're starting to get
sandstone?
They absolutely are.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like the crumbling slums. There's sandstone. There's dull red cobblestone streets.
I asked Jameson how he feels about sandstone.
Yeah.
Jameson, what do you make of the sandstone here?
Sorry, what?
You? The sandstone. Does it tickle your fancy?
I'm sorry, I'm busy.
so Jameson
he's having a good time.
Masturbating in public.
Yeah. No, Jameson has one hand very politely pulled out of his arm. It kind of looks like he's missing an arm. And everything's okay. Everything's fine.
Politely.
How are you? Yeah. And so you guys make it through. You go through the crumbling slums of Sandstone Row. You walk along the dull red cobblestone streets. You eventually see a bunch of Davos. They are actually rebuilding a quake that seems to have like scattered and torn down a bunch of poor residence houses. You see a lot of tieflings in this area, like kind of hanging out in the streets while the Davos rebuild their homes. Eventually, you turn south and you make it to the Great Gymnasium.
The gymnasium. Is that what that place is?
Yeah. No. Basically, you pass through the ghetto.
The tiefling ghetto.
Yeah. You go through the tiefling ghetto and you make it to the very outside of the Guildhall ward. And when you just barely cross into the Guildhall ward, you find that a kind of unfamiliar sensation. As you cross this road, the whole world tilts forward on an axis of maybe about 18 degrees. Like the entire world around you rolls forward.
Oh shit!
And some of you stumble and you catch yourselves. And and when you look around, you see that nobody seems to notice this. Between the group of you, you're all looking around, wondering what's going on. Oli doesn't stop; he keeps walking, and Fibblethip doesn't stop either. They both keep walking, as if this didn't happen, as if the whole world didn't just tumble forwards and you had to catch yourselves. It's awesome.
Why did the whole world tumble forward as if we just had to catch ourselves?
We've done this before.
Fibblethip looks up at you and he sort of like smiles and laughs like, yeah. You know, in the way like maybe he didn't really totally hear what you said, so he just kind of laughed it off because he has low self-esteem.
Aw.
You know, he's not about to ask you, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, so he's just like, ha, yeah, that's, oh, Mal.
It's the it's the George Carlin joke. It's where the guys are saying like, we're coming over to remove your wife's ovaries. Is that okay? And you go, yeah, because you didn't hear what they said.
Go for it, you know. Yeah. So you roll forward and you begin to hear it's noisier in the Guildhall ward. It's more crowded. It's less clean. There is a little bit of smog. Eventually, though, what captures your eye is the Great Gymnasium. It is situated roughly in the center of the Guildhall ward. It still primarily functions as what its name implies. You see, the calm beauty of the Great Gymnasium exceeds the laurels given to the glory of any other building in the ward. Indeed, the entire city. You stop and you marvel. The gymnasium's entire outer facade is built of a unique and evocative black marble. And it is laced throughout with veins of gold and rose-colored minerals. I mean, this building is unlike anything you've ever seen.
Damn.
Before the faction war, Fibblethip begins to recount, the Great Gymnasium was the home of the Transcendent Order. And it was and still is a place where anyone can go to improve their body by a great variety of physical activities. However, since the faction war, the major change that came from the war is the Professional Fighting League. And that's now basically what the Great Gymnasium is for.
UFC.
He guides you all in, dominating one of the exterior walls of the Great Gymnasium. As you cross inside, is a gigantic painted mural. It is, let's see, this guy, this member of this sect called the Shao sect, called the Painter. He's a tiefling, and one day he showed up and began painting the wall.
So many tieflings.
In the end, he created one of the most moving and beautiful paintings in all of Sigil. You see the painting, the mural is abstract in nature. And as you all look at it, it's you each see a different pattern within its chaotic and yet simple depth. It's simple in its complexity. Regardless of what you claim to see within it, it's super evocative. And you all stop, you marvel at the building, marvel at the mural, and you walk inside.
Yeah.
It's a multiple floor building, right? The first floor is dominated by an exercise field used for various martial arts and combat skills. You see, in the center of the field, there are 3 pools. One is hot, one is warm, and one is cold. Beyond the field is a portico, and you see musical acts being performed. You see an artistic painting demonstration, and you see someone lecturing. And then, as you continue to walk, Oli brings you all the way inside. You see separate rooms for music, dancing, sculpting, all sorts of art. You reach the second chamber, and it's much quieter.
What? Sorry. In the first chamber, you said there were 3, like...
Pools.
Pools. Okay, I thought you said ghouls.
Yeah. Pools.
Okay. Yeah, pools.
Hot ghouls.
Yeah, of different varying temperatures.
Right.
You see different people of different races mingling in the different pools. You know.
Okay. Wasn't there supposed to be a statue of Keeks or some shit?
You haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
You get to the second level, which is filled with meditation chambers. One takes up most of the floor, and it's called the Shared Meditation Chamber. And you see multiple training rooms that are in use. And you see, as you walk by them, there are some training rooms that are empty. But every training room seems to have a number of people in it, and they're all dressed in uniform, different uniforms. And they're sparring, they're practicing magic, they're generally practicing combat. And finally, you get to this lobby. And in this lobby, there is a row of statues. And they're all, the likenesses are super impressive. All of the statues are in bronze. So when it comes to sigil and like the value of metal, bronze is not valuable in any major way. But all of the statues depicting what you see are the champions of the gymnasium are all in bronze. There's a whole line of them. There's like 7 or 8 or 9 of them. And as you get to the front, the latest one is Keeks. And she's holding a sword in one hand and a wand in the other. She's standing like holding them both in the air, and she's standing on top of a pile of what look to be basically dead bodies. As Oli walks by, he puts a hand to his mouth, and then he puts a hand on the statue, like on one of the bodies that is laying dead or defeated in the statue. You do sort of recognize it a little bit. It's another cat person, but it's not Oli. Anyways, That's just a throwaway. Basically, you get to the front, and this is what you see. At the second story opens up. There's a much loud, like the noise comes back. It's no longer quiet and meditative, and you come out here. See, players, bam.
I gotta take a piss. I'm about to piss myself.
All right. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably only have less than 30 minutes left of the game, but let's take a break because I also need to use the restroom.
Daniel, come over. We could have root beer floats.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Yo, Johnny Gold, you there? Okay, nope. What up?
Hey, what happened? Did we all die?
Yeah, we're all dead. R.I.P.
R.I.P. baby.
Father Jameson, 413 to 413.
Father Jameson's cool, man.
You know what they say? Only the good die young.
Only the good die young.
I'm mostly just going to throw in, 80s rock lyrics as words of power.
That's fair. Maybe you should have been a bard, dude.
No, sir. It's a different thing. Goddamn different. Also, being a cleric is fun as fuck. Because I also get some druid spells and,
Yeah, dog. You have thaumaturgy, which is like...
Dude, thaumaturgy's fucking awesome.
Oh, I love it. It's
a goddamn cantrip. Like,
yeah.
I can just bullshit all the damn time.
Yep. Tieflings get that shit, like, by default, and I've used it to some silly effect.
I can also speak with animals and make friends with animals, so that's pretty cool.
What domain are you using? Is it nature?
Nature, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good deal. 5e is definitely different when it comes to spells and a bit like 4e is all about feats and shit like that and skills and.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the way they did it with 5th edition. I like that feats are like they're far fewer feats, but they're like fucking really strong. Like
yeah,
it's cool.
Hell, even just the Sacred Flame fucking cantrip is fairly decent.
Sacred Flame. My character in Ashton's campaign is going to be spamming the shit out of that.
Nice.
I
mean, if I do Shillelagh first and
Shillelagh's good, dude.
Dude, Shillelagh on my stat. Ooh, me Shillelagh.
Oh, me Shillelagh.
Me Shillelagh.
All right.
Right?
Oh,
dude, holy shit.
Oh, me Shillelagh.
I'm not gonna lie, I did look up, good cleric builds first.
Oh yeah.
I didn't match exactly. I didn't min-max that hard, but I was like, I don't want to.
We're all big enough faggots to Google optimization for 5th edition.
Yeah. I am subscribed to all those websites.
Yeah, my last build was a Guy Fieri Tinker Gnome. I can't really.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Cool.
He was hilarious. I was sad we ended just when I got to my Paragon because I was going to be an Artificer and I had a fucking Luke Skywalker hand. Like,
oh man,
it was cool. it was cool shit. I mean, and then we just, school year ended. But
yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm
well,
really glad.
Anyway, is everybody here?
I'm back.
I think John's probably still in absentia.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
well,
kill 'em
essentially, yeah. Let me just delete him. Essentially, you guys all walked into the inside of the Great Gymnasium. So just imagine that these seats are made of the same,
What are they made of, Jameson?
They are made of
stone.
Is it stone?
Yes. So Jameson, like I said, the gymnasium's entire outer facade and much of the inside is a unique and evocative black marble that is laced with veins of gold and rose-colored mineral.
I'd like to know about the stone.
Okay, why don't you roll your famous
my stone cunning?
Stone cunning.
Plus 2 more, also.
Nice.
Damn it.
So
14 either one.
Okay, yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. The evocative black marble, let's see, was originally brought to Sigil by the Transcendent Order, who are the people who run the gymnasium. Let's see. Famously, the factol in charge of the Transcendent Order found this black marble by solving a riddle. Like a riddle that no one was said to have ever been able to solve. And he thought about it for years and years, and when he came back, he answered the riddle, and he was given access to this incredibly valuable black marble. It comes from you don't even know where. But wow. The only people...
For me, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. The only people who have ever been given the right or maybe the had the opportunity to craft with such a stone is only the Transcendent Order. If a stone worker such as yourself wanted to work with this, the only way to do it would be to either make friends with their Transcendent Order or steal it from them. Yeah, that's what you know. And yeah, so you guys get into the outdoor arena, and you see below you 2 teams of fighters. One of them, one team is wearing blacks and yellows. They are mostly, they're smaller races. They're gnomes. They're gnomes. They're halflings, and they're humans. And the other team is You see one of them is a lizard person, you see one of them is a minotaur, and you see one of them is a satyr.
I fucking knew you were bringing it back to the fucking...
And the 3 of them seem to be just making mincemeat of, like, the entire other team.
So, Thomas, this is the sequel to that campaign you ran, right?
It's mostly the minotaur. The minotaur is running around just goring these halflings and gnomes.
I watch him as he gores his halflings, and I just get madder and madder.
All right, you do. You get incredibly angry. The cleric runs over the cleric on the Minotaur squad runs over to these dying halflings, and he kneels on the ground and he raises his holy symbol in the air. And then he throws his holy symbol away, and he just starts eating them alive.
What the fuck?
Like he just starts devouring these halflings.
Holy shit.
That's metal as fuck. I think it's a character.
A minotaur?
Some of the humans run up to this, like, in an attempt to stop him, and the satyr sort of clops over and looks at them and grins. And he plays something on his panpipes. You can't really hear what he played from so far away. The crowd goes nuts, and the 2 humans drop their weapons and begin beating the shit out of each other. Wow. Obviously charmed. And an announcer, a voice booms from the stone itself, like the black marble stone, and says, and says, the winner of this match is the amateurs from. Where do I want them to be fighting for? Initially, I had them being the Zausex, but when I brought them up earlier, I changed it. Give me 1 second. Factions.
Are they of the Lord's Alliance?
No. They are the Dustmen. So the dude announces, the winner of this bout is the amateur team from the Dustmen. And people stand up and cheer, and they just start chanting, "The dead, the dead, the dead," and the lizard man throws the remains of the halflings in the air, and it's just like, "Ah!" and they're escorted out. The victors are escorted out. They walk like up the steps right by you guys, and the Minotaur looks down at Dizzy. And he looks you in the eye, and he sees the rage in your eyes, and he does that cartoonish bull thing where he snorts out his nose in a puff of smoke. He's like,
cool. I'm gonna do the same thing. I want puff of smoke to come out of my nose.
I'll cast thaumaturgy on him to allow it to happen.
Okay.
And it's like a big fucking gout of smoke. Like, it's huge.
It looks like I just vaped.
Yeah, it does. You puff smoke back, and the Minotaur like laughs at you and says, "Ha! Ha!" and continues out. He's like wiping halfling blood off his horns, and
does any get splattered onto us?
Oh yeah, a lot gets splattered on you. Probably because as he's wiping the blood off his horns, you're like positioning yourself underneath him to like let the blood fall on you. But yeah,
blood rain.
The lizard man walks right by. He's just kind of picking his teeth, and the satyr clops by, sort of looks at you all. He winks at the princess Stella. He's like, "Hey." And he like kind of strokes his pipes very creepily, and he continues back into the lobby from where you guys came from, and Oli says, Oli walks up to the middle here, and he says, "I think we're right on time. It should be any minute," and the announcer comes back through the stone itself. And he says, the next match will begin in a matter of a few moments, and it will include the new amateur division team from the Will of the One. And Opie like,
Wait, no, we're supposed to be the Thunder League.
All right.
Yeah.
First of all, Brakaw, the Thunder League is clearly the name of the Umbrian team.
No.
Yeah, you can't escape the Thunder League in this because you're already the Thunder League and a million other things.
Exactly. Fuck. Even though we were originally the Thunder League in this, but then we became the Thunder League in Umbria because you guys are stupid, and I yelled at you about it.
Fuck you.
So anyway, Oli guides you guys over here to the western part of the thing, and he says, "Come on, guys, let's go to the locker room." And we got a few minutes, and he gathers you guys all up.
I guess he's gonna pump us up. He's doing some laps around.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I didn't realize this was going to happen today.
Make your way to the locker room.
How do I make an icon of myself?
Oh yeah, you got deleted.
Oh yeah, I deleted you.
You and your geometric patterns.
Delete.
Delete! Hey, get off me.
Oh, I made one.
Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Oh, I made two. Shit. I'm the best. Wait.
What the fuck?
Anyway, so you are gradually descending the steps into your side's locker room.
I can't catch it.
As you walk in, you see a full team of humans and gnomes and halflings who look like maybe they took a beating, but they're not dead and they haven't been eaten alive. And in fact, one of the halflings that had been eaten alive is sort of like feeling up his abdomen and sort of like pushing on it, making sure everything's okay. And he sort of looks up at his coach and he like gives a thumbs up, like, I seem to be all right, you know.
So he's not dead.
So he's not dead. And
Not
and
dead
as
yet.
and as you are walking down and seeing this happen, and the stairs that you just got off of sort of rise up and close off the Coliseum. So like you guys are no longer accessible to the dirt floor. You guys are now in the locker room. And very, very faintly as you are talking to Oli as he begins to pep you guys up for your fight you didn't know about, you hear the announcer announce who you're going to be fighting. And I want everybody to roll a perception check to see if you guys hear who you're fighting.
Oh, no problem. Bone Zone.
11, 13, 13.
Are we fighting those Fireforge? Cell Sword X Pit Fighter, slow to trust, quick to kill, money talks, bullshit rocks.
What? Okay. I was gonna say, why the hell am I the only one who had had two numbers?
Yeah. Oh, because you're set to roll with advantage.
Okay.
You can turn that off in your character sheet by going to the little gear on and by core biospells gear, and then roll. I think it's like always roll advantage, and you tell it like advantage toggle. Or something
Gotcha.
like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Daniel has a lot of the checks he makes because he has he has Huggins is familiar.
Oh, of course.
Longbow of warning.
Yeah, and a longbow of warning. That's true, which gives him advantage on. And
if anybody's sleeping, they wake up automatically at the start of battle, and we can't be surprised.
Yeah, super good for the team. Anyways, Mungus would be the only one to hear who you guys are going to fight, and I'll tell him later. But anyways, Oli has basically before you know it, he's walked you all the way into the Coliseum, and you've been introduced to all the viewers, and they all go nuts about you, and you're now locked in a locker room, and Oli is going to start going over the breakdown of how he thinks you guys should fight, and next time we pick up, we will start immediately with your first gladiatorial combat.
Oh, shit.
And if some people aren't here, and like Ashton is here, but maybe like someone else isn't here, we'll just kind of hand wave it.
Yeah, that sounds good. We can just say.
Yeah, I think this is honestly a good place to stop, because if we do the combat, we might be playing till midnight.
Yeah. I'm off work tomorrow.
Do you guys think we can play again next Thursday?
I don't. Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's just try and make that the thing for the remaining.
Yeah, perfect. I think
foreseeable
Zach's
future.
getting in on the 20th, so this would be a perfect way to ignore him.
Wait, Zach's coming into town next week?
I think so. Is it 20th?
That's what he
20th
said.
or 21st or something? I don't know. Something like that.
Well, if it's the 21st, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
No, I'm still gonna ignore him.
Perfect.
I know you're being silly and stuff, but like, if the night that he gets into town, he's definitely gonna want to hang out.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
We'll see.
Okay, let's find out. Let's find out what day it is, because like obviously Thursday like seems to me like a good night, but if it would be better to do it a different night, you know, the whole point of we're building AutoZone Park inside a giant like
AutoZone Park.
You know how Mr. Brown would say when they built AutoZone Park.
When they built AutoZone Park,
they built a giant like system of shocks around it.
Right.
So that like when the earthquake hits Memphis, which is due any minute now, like AutoZone Park would shake and rattle and roll, but it won't fall over.
The big one's coming any minute. Calm down.
Yeah. So like The whole point of the flexible schedule with a flexible amount of players is like the most people can play. So
yeah. I mean, you've been talking about doing it for a while. I mean, like, I'm down for next Thursday. I mean,
Cool.
I'm down too.
You know, Zach,
Cool.
like, because if we don't play super late, we can always hang out with Zach afterwards. Because I know he's, you know. My only concern with doing like a regular Thursday session is that Ashton probably won't be able to make it that often.
Yeah, that's true.
His schedule right now is just completely fucking random.
Yeah, well, like, that's the thing. I think he's going to get out of his ICU rotation in, like, a couple of weeks, and then he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, well, when that happens, we can also figure out, like, hey, maybe he's free every Sunday afternoon, you know?
Yeah, I can adjust.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Long story short, we all miss Ashton. But,
yeah, buddy.
Never met him. Can't say I miss him.
Anyways, let me say,
He's right.
Jameson McGinnis is fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're
He loves
natural, Kevin.
rocks. He loves some goddamn rocks, I'll tell you that.
We're very happy to have you. There was no combat today, but there was a shitload of rocks.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And I'm hard as one, so. Let me tell you.
Fucking That was good, Thomas. I had a good time.
Yeah, I had a really good time fucking with the shopkeeps. That was really fun.
Yeah. They will be recurring characters. I'm trying to lay as many puzzle pieces in front of you guys as possible, like, and just keep doing that over and over again until eventually I feel like you guys will have enough that you have heard about doing or enough that you want to do that we can literally pick up and decide what we want to do that day.
Oh yeah, man.
You know?
The gears are turning for me. It's like, there's all sorts of shit.
And I know somebody said it as a joke, but I literally am going to make a quest tab because that's perfect.
Yeah.
And we just keep up on global quests that way.
Yeah.
And renew a team name other than the Thunder League because that's taken.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys didn't kill anything, but you did a lot of fun stuff. So I'll say, what is everybody gets 700 experience.
Oh,
Piece. 700 each.
I don't know what that means.
So,
I don't know how much I have or how much I need.
I can.
Okay.
Look up. There's a level chart.
Okay.
So you start at 3. Let's see.
Sorry, level 3.
The experience chart.
I'm just gonna do a triple backflip right now.
That'll give you even more experience.
See if you can manage, bro.
Yeah. So at level 3, you have 900 experience points. So you're gonna be at 1600.
Awesome.
You almost doubled.
Hell yeah.
You get to level 4 at 2700.
Damn. That's so far away.
Yeah, we're at 8. We're at 8318. So we're only about a little bit more than halfway to 6.
Wow. That increases pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean,
exponential.
It's pretty much. It's pretty hefty.
John, what do you want our new team name to be?
The Lightning Group.
Not you, Joseph. I asked John because he's. What do you think, Bracaw?
What?
Our new team name. What should it be? That's pretty cool.
That's a missile shark.
Yeah.
There's a little shark in the pilot seat.
I'll come up with a good team name. Don't worry about it, guys.
Okay. What? Oh, goddamn! I don't even want to know what your search terms are.
Oh, an ambiguous voice reads itself in the back of your mind, watching, waiting. I wonder what that could possibly mean.
Maybe it's that Pazuzu guy.
That's fucking 4 times, bro.
That doesn't do anything, though.
Dr. P.
Dr. P.
Guys.
Yeah, say it as much as you want now. I mean, he's fucking...
Thomas specifically said in Dragon Lords 2 that Pazuzu breaks the 4th wall. So anytime you make reference to him, anytime you use an alias or a euphemism, he knows that you're talking about it.
Is Pazuzu a 5th edition god too? Is he like...
I mean...
Pazuzu is who I talk to on the bus every morning, man. Like, Pazuzu is life. Dude.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, Pazuzu is the only character who has been in almost... I think he's probably been in every single one of my D&D campaigns.
He's a great character, dude. The trickster
but
god.
Not this one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, not this
not
one.
Yet.
Oh. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for playing, guys. You
Yeah,
guys
man,
all
it was
did
great.
great.
Yeah, thanks for DMing. We'll talk to you soon.
If you have any questions, or if something you wanted something to happen but it didn't happen, like shopping or anything like that, just email me and we can work it all out. And Alex, I will email you the conversation that you had with Oli.
Okay, sounds good.
And is there anything else that I needed to?
You're gonna the spell scrolls, because I have a spell scroll from the Harmon fight too.
For Dizzy and for Hugh. There's the only email. Okay, if there's anything else anybody needs, I'll send you guys all this stuff this weekend. That way you can think about it and have some time before Thursday. And for Thursday, the whole session won't be combat, so think about what you might want to do afterwards, and let me know.
Sounds good, man.
Challenge the Minotaur 1v1.
Fuck yeah.
Alola.
Oh, wait.
Good night.
I found something else that is cool. Not as
What?
cool.
Oh, never
That
mind.
thing.
Goddamn.
I don't really care for the text below. I just enjoy the fact that there's a guy shooting bow and arrow at whales. Yeah. Fuck those whales.
Fuck
know
you,
what I'm
whale!
saying?
Fuck you, dolphin!
Fuck you, Weru. Fuck you, Weru.
Fuck you, Eddie.
Is he Japanese?
Sure.
That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Only
They
Japanese
fucking
people
hate
kill
whales.
whales.
They fucking hate them.
That's not true. Anyone who wants to become a man eventually has to kill a whale.
Why would you kill a whale with a bow and arrow? Like, it would be dead, and then you can't really, like, pull it on, like, deck unless you have, like,
Justin, don't ask stupid questions.
The only
Okay.
difference, the only thing you could do differently, dude, to become a man is you can kill a whale or you can save a killer whale.
You can be a slave or you can be a lichen.
What's that 19 doing there?
It's a
You can
19.
drag. I figured out you can drag numbers onto the field.
Wait, what?
Why? I don't know. But you can.
I can't drag any oh, there we go.
That's a lot of 19s there.
I'm the god of 19s.
We're
You
going to
can do
make
it better
Thomas
than
clean
other
up our
person's
mess.
Yeah, Thomas is gonna be mad. Thomas is gonna say, and so 20D19 lizard men showed up. We have to fight 400 lizard men. Here,
Man, that was a fun. Dig Dush was one of my favorite characters I've ever made.
Dig Dush the Destroyer, man.
Yeah, do we think that we were looking at our old characters from that gladiatorial campaign?
No, because I don't think there was a satyr in your old campaign.
That was me. Yeah, I was.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
I was like a carnage, like druid guy that can turn your arms into like heads and shit.
All right. I don't think Thomas. I mean, I wasn't there for that, obviously, but I've only read what Thomas has written about Duke H. Reaver, Mandanko, Red Bull the Minotaur, Mandaconda.
I forgot about Mandaconda.
Apparently, his name was originally Mandicado, because that's Joseph.
Yeah.
But then Mandanko
We made him
lost
gay.
his memories in the river Styx, and Mandanko told him his name was Mandaconda.
And he was gay. Convinced him he was gay.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, that's right, Mandaconda. He's a top tier character.
Yeah.
So what are y'all doing tomorrow?
Hanging out, bro.
Yeah, I don't got no plans. You
Oh yeah, I forgot you were in town, Justin.
Oh yeah.
You
I'm
got
off work
a.
all
I'm
day.
leaving Monday morning, so.
Oh,
Justin
cool.
wants
So,
to get shitty.
Hey Kevin,
Yo.
Yeah.
you got a mom?
What?
oh,
I do. I do, in fact, have a mom job. Thank you.
Excellent. We'll have to do something tomorrow once we get off work. I guess we can't go to the rail garden because it is highly
Fucking closed.
illegal. What
Highly
happened?
illegal and
Not up to standards.
gentrified. Yes,
Yeah, they closed it because it's gentrification.
clearly. Too many
Class.
white people from Germantown here.
Yeah.
Too many cooks.
Too many cucks.
Whoa.
Too many cucks.
Hey guys, are you still on the? I found another cool picture. Hold on.
You guys have been doing a real good job with the chat. Just fucking spamming ridiculous
Check this one out, dude. This one's really cool.
No, the chat
What
thing
is that, John?
Where are you
the
finding
opposite
these?
river monsters.
Yeah.
Holy-
That one's pretty good. I
We're
like
the
that.
real monsters.
Okay,
We're
so
the real mon.
the chat thing is perfect because you can spam bullshit and make your jokes without interrupting the DM, and it's,
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's a nice mechanic. Gotta make sure not to go too overboard, but like John has taken full advantage of that. Like at least 3 ridiculous YouTube videos get posted a session, and it's great. It's fucking awesome. Don't get me wrong.
Would you really call it taking advantage of?
Yeah, I mean that in the most positive way possible, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
You're using the resources.
I like that
disposal.
whenever John talks, my screen just turns into fucking bullshit static. It looks like Resident Evil 7 or some shit.
Honestly, I just pretend that John is like a bad guy from Reboot or something.
Why?
Incoming game.
I'm Bob.
You're Megabyte. John, why don't you turn on your camera anymore? Or do you not have one?
I don't have a camera.
Okay. Well, you
That's
used
just
to.
what
What
my
happened?
screen said. No, I never did. Oh, I probably just because I borrowed
Oh,
shit.
you borrowed like Justin's computer or something, or like a webcam
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used mine like 2 or 3 times.
Maybe it's better because when you did have the camera, all you did was make fucking Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber faces.
Everyone liked it.
I mean, it was great. Yeah, it was cool.
No, man. I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get to be. It's funny because like I straight faced that character so much, and then I finally got to be a pirate. And then it's like, well, we're leaving the pirate ship.
Oh.
Don't worry, John. I have a plan.
We'll be pirates forever.
If we survive this fight, I have a plan.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's interesting because like Thomas presented like an option to like essentially take the pirate ship and travel off into this world and get treasure and you know gold and shit, which sounds like a pretty appealing idea. But like Mal wouldn't want to do that. But like it's odd to have that as like an option and then just be like, no, you know, so, you know. Then again, isn't Brakal like scared of being a pirate or something?
Yeah, but you know, there's something about stepping on, you know, just you know, it's like you tell your best friend you hate